This series is intended for mature audiences. We insist you heed the following content warnings before viewing. Horror themes, language, adult themes, and strong violence and gore, including gun violence. Welcome to the Weird West. Let us tell y'all a story.
Jonah. Your foot splashes loudly into a mud puddle right in the center of the alleyway, and the wind rushes past your ears. It's the middle of the night, maybe pushing 2 a.m., and the shadows make it hard to see the figure that you're chasing. As you come out of the alley on the other side, you almost run into Luthor. Kind of like slamming into him, just grabbing onto his arms. You both kind of slam into the wall a little bit on the other side. A crash in another alley gets your attention, and you both look over and you actually see Willie coming out and kind of being tangled in the clothes hanging from a clothesline, pushing them aside, kind of throwing them down on the ground. And the figure begins to dash away once again as you see Matthias run out into view, looking around, seeing the figure. All of you see the figure sprinting. If you will take this moment to just introduce yourselves. You can introduce your character if you'd like, but mostly just describe what each of you are seeing of each other. We can start with Jonah.
Okay. I'm Caleb James Miller. I'm playing Jonah today. When you're looking at Jonah, this is what you're getting. He's 6'2" with a pale, smooth complexion, smoother than anyone has a right to in the Wild West. He's conventionally handsome, but he's overly thin, like string bean level. He's just short of starving. He uses far too much pomade in his hair, and he dresses like someone who's never seen dirt, who's never seen dust. He wears a long tailored burgundy frock coat over a vest and suit shirt. And he's the sort of guy you can't trust because he wears gloves. He keeps a deck of cards in a sleeve holster on his left side. Very easy to see. That's what you're looking at.
All right. Luthor?
Hi, I'm Paul Vincent. You can call me Vincent. I'm Luthor. I'd say he's kind of like Jonah, that he's a classically handsome guy, but instead of being thin, he's not super muscular, but he is a bit beefy. He's not smiling, but he's not mean looking. He just kind of looks at everything with a cool detachment. But he definitely has a different look than most other people. He wears gunslinger attire, but his shirt is crisp white. It's got embroidered eagles and flowers with red piping on it. He's got white neckerchief, white cowboy hat. Every bit of metal on him is highly polished. Black gun belt with stitching, elaborate patterns. He's got his own initials on a big belt buckle on his belt, and also on the pearl handles of his revolvers. And he just kind of like looks slightly annoyed that he got run into.
We'll go with Willie.
Hi, I'm Katie Brennan. I'm playing Willie. She is a young, kind of boisterous but wily fledgling mad scientist. She's named after her father, who was a pretty famous alchemist in the town. She could be pretty, but she doesn't try to do anything about her look. She always has stuff on her face from her experiments. She doesn't brush her hair, so she just doesn't care about any of that stuff. So you wouldn't know that if she's pretty or not, really. There's just too much going on. She always has her goggles on. They're always dirty too. And she's caught all up in this clothesline, partially because she's scared, but just at the same time so curious about what this is. She was also a little disappointed to have to leave the room because she was dying to just like check out that body and see what was going on there. So it's a mixture of emotions at the moment. She's trying to focus.
And Matthias.
Hi, I'm Kite. I'm playing Matthias. Matthias is about 6'4" and is wearing like a leather duster, and you can easily tell by looking at him that he's had like several years on the road, just like sleeping out by campfires and stuff, and not really taking good care of himself. Imagine if you took somebody who had the physique of like a day laborer kind of person, and then just gave him like 6 years of like the worst taking care of himself of his life. Generally friendly body language, but has this sort of like deadness in his expression unless people are paying attention to him. And yeah, that's pretty much it, what you're getting in this situation.
All right. So in this moment, in the dim light of the yellowed street lanterns, with the figure dashing away, almost disappearing into the darkness out of your view, we have Jonah. What would you like to do?
Jonah's a bit of a coward, so he's a little hesitant that he's moving faster than the others, but he does know that if this thing gets away, he's going to be wanted even more than he already is in this situation. So he looks over at the others, God damn it, and takes chase after him. He's trying to keep pace as best as he can, but not get too close to whatever the hell this is.
All right, I'll have you make a notice check for me.
Sure. Let's see what I gave Jonah for notice. Red hot D4, baby. I'll explode on my D4, and I end with a 6.
Okay, so as you're kind of hesitantly sprinting forward, you're looking around, you hear your heart pounding in your ears, and as you look over, for a moment, your heart drops because you think you've lost this figure, and then you see movement in the corner of your eye, and you look over, and you actually see it's like you see coattails disappearing behind one of the buildings as it's sprinting further down the street.
Oh, he's over here! He's over here, right around this corner. Would you hurry the hell up, Luthor? He's gonna get away! I'm running around the corner. I'm going after it.
Wonderful. And on that note, Luthor, you're up.
Luthor kind of straightens his shirt a little bit, and then, can I see the figure, or it?
You cannot, not from where you are.
Okay.
It ran off sort of out of view, and Jonah was the first one able to sprint off after it.
So I'll just give chase then.
All right, so sprinting, mostly following Jonah's lead. I would assume you're kind of pointing over to the building.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I've got the big beanpole legs, sprinting as fast as he can.
He's hard to miss. So.
Yeah, he's skirting in the dirt and pointing wildly. He's over there. He's fast as all hell. We gotta catch him.
All right, so you're sprinting. You by the time you get up to him, both of you can get to basically like the corner of this building and turn around, and you see this actual alleyway leads to the other side of the street, and you see it reach the other side and look both directions. You just see its head moving in both directions. You're just a shadowy cloak kind of draping off of him. Is that your turn, Luthor?
I don't. Well, I'll pull my pistol and I'll say, "Stop or I'll shoot."
Okay.
Varmint.
Do you want to make any sort of check for that, or?
I guess that would be. Is there intimidation, or is it just?
I think so.
Oh, I don't even have intimidation. It's an untrained skill, so that's not gonna be great. I got a 1 minus 2 on that, and a 1. Oh, that's a critical fail on intimidation.
Oh,
so
we missed out on the John Wayne voice.
Perfect.
yeah. Hey you! My voice crackles as I.
Yeah, you go to yell, "Stop or I'll shoot," and it's just like, "Stop! Stop!"
Hell of a time to go through puberty.
Yeah.
And now we are up to Willie, who has just finally untangled herself from this clothesline.
Well, Willie finally gets herself off these petticoats and shouts, "Wait for me!" And then she starts to run and trying to catch up with everybody else.
Yeah, so you sprint forward. You come up behind Jonah and Luthor, and you kind of like push through them a little bit to peek through and see. You see Luthor aiming his gun out at this figure, and you just see this figure facing away from you, looking both directions in the street. Do you do anything?
Is there anything like above his head?
Make
or
a notice
right
check.
in front of him?
Make a notice check for me.
Okay, I got a 2 and a 4.
Okay. Did you get the 4 on
On my
Stress.
regular skill die.
and was that a D4 or was it higher?
D8. It was a D8.
Okay. All right, so looking around, there's nothing really hanging above him. There's nothing directly in front of him either, but on the other side of the street that this alley is opening up into, you see kind of a pile of just trash maybe, or boxes. But that's about it.
Okay. I just concocted this thing that will let me shoot a bolt, and I'd never used it before, so I want to shoot it at the garbage to try to block his way, because I want to kill him yet, because I don't know who he is.
All right. So you are trying to shoot a bolt at the garbage in the distance.
Yeah, right in front of him to try to scatter it in front of him.
All right, go ahead and make that roll.
Okay, let's see. Okay, I got a 5.
Okay. All right, so as this, explain how this looks. Is this some sort of device that you're shooting it from, or how does this look coming from this character?
Yeah, she's got a lot of things attached to her. Undercarriage kinda, and then on the arms too. So like it's kind of like modern day vacuum hose. She kind of reaches up one arm and just kind of swoops out.
Wonderful. So you push through the boys, and then you do kind of like step in front of them for a moment and just pull this Ghostbusters style vacuum hose outward, and you watch as this hose, there's like this weird glow coming from the center of it for a moment, and then it you just kind of hear this strange sucking sound, and then it flies out of this hose, and it goes right past this being, and it slams into the trash across the street. And as it does, boxes and crates explode up and fly everywhere. And you see this figure kind of hunch down a little bit from the sound, and then you see as its hands come up, claws come out.
I'm gonna say, "Oop! I think I've determined it's a bad guy."
Thank you, ma'am.
I don't think we should pull our punches no more.
All right, Matthias, you're up.
So Matthias watches everybody else turn and run straight out of the room, and he goes, "Oh, hell," and he just bolts after everybody. Is there a roll I could do to see if there's a faster way to get to that street? Because I see other people like disappearing down that alleyway.
I would say by this time you see them at the end of that alleyway pushing through, and you would see, or at least hear, the explosion from Willie's bolt slam into the other side. So if you wanted to go around this building on the other way, you could definitely do that.
I will do that.
All right, so you sprint around, turning around to the other side of the building. As you're turning the corner, you see this thing's claws out, and as it looks over at you, you get a better view at its face. Why do you wait until I'm doing this, huh? Just like, I'm cute, don't mind me. As it turns towards you, you see a completely pale face, You see pale lips kind of stretched outward, and you see jagged, pointed teeth as it looks over at you with solid black eyes. It's met your gaze, but that's all. Is there anything you would like to do?
You're a thing that needs to die. I would like to spend a power point and shoot a bolt at it.
Perfect.
Spending power points, I'm less familiar with the magic in this system. I just spend it and the power happens. Is that how that works?
You have to roll focus. I'm sorry, carry on.
Yeah, you still have to, like, the power will happen, but you still have to, you have to roll to, I don't know how to phrase this other than, like, D&D terms. You have to roll to hit.
Yeah, so you should have, like, a spell casting skill, and that's what you're rolling to see if the spell is effective accuracy-wise.
It's usually, like, focus arcane or something like that.
Mine's just straight up called spell casting. Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow, that's cool.
Mine's weird science.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what defines whether the spell's going to hit or not.
That's a 10.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm rolling a
That's
D12
pretty good.
for spell casting. I'm very specialized.
All right, so tell me how this looks like coming from Matthias.
Sure. So, if anybody was watching, they would see a glowing card appear in Matthias's hand, and he essentially throws it, and it arcs through the air like a throwing card, essentially. And on contact, it just explodes.
All right, so for this point here, Jonah, I'm gonna have you make a notice check. Uh-oh, are we frozen? Oh no, okay, we're good.
I exploded on my wild die with a 9 total.
Okay, so as you're standing there in the alleyway looking out at this thing, you see it look over at something approaching from the other side, and then you swear for a brief second there's a card, a glowing card, that the moment it slams into this thing, it explodes out into the power, into the side of it. It pushes outward a little bit and snarls and turns directly to face Matthias.
Ooh.
But you do notice that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that Jonah's shaken up by that. He's definitely trying to peer around whatever beast this is to see through them. And making the connection is shaking.
All right. So, for this second round of combat, I actually drew a Joker card from Matthias.
Ooh.
Maddie.
I think everyone gets a Benny, right?
Everyone gets a Benny for that.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you, Matthias.
A Joker on action cards means you can go whenever you want. You can interrupt any action that you want. You choose when you go. So with that, I ask, are you going immediately, or do you want to kind of play it by ear and see what happens?
I'm gonna hold off.
Okay. And for Luthor, it's a 2. For Willie, ooh, yeah. And for Jonah,
Rocket.
all right. So if everyone's good with that, no one wants to spend a Benny to redraw.
I'm hoarding bennies right now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm nervous.
Okay, in that case, Willie, you are up first.
Okay, can I still see it?
You can, yes. It has now turned and is facing, you don't see Matthias, but it is facing towards that side of the street that he came around on.
All right, I'm gonna try to shoot him this time and not next to him.
All right.
Ooh, I think I missed that time. Can I use a Benny to try again?
Yeah.
That's better. Got a 4.
Okay. All right, so what was it you said? We better stop pulling punches, and you just turn,
Oh, yeah.
and you just change the angle slightly of this like vacuum style hose, and another bolt kind of builds up inside of it and shoots out of it, shoots forward, and it slams into the side of this creature. As it is facing Matthias and snarling, once your bolt slams into it, it turns around and it looks at you, and the rest of you get that just pale face, piranha-like teeth, just jagged everywhere. It turns and looks at you. Its eyes are wide, completely black, almost like black marbles. And as it turns and looks at you, you see it kind of eyeing everyone and then glancing behind it on the empty street that continues outward. All right, with that, we are up to Jonah.
Do I need to roll for damage or anything, or no?
No.
Not yet. All right, no.
I don't know what the hell that was, but you better keep that up, man. I think it worked. It's gonna make a run for it. We gotta stop this damn thing. And I'm gonna pull from my hip holster my Star revolver, and I'm gonna take some wild fucking shots at this thing. Jonah is not a sharpshooter by any means, but he's gonna give it his best shot.
All right. How many shots?
Well, I think just flavor-wise, he's wildly shooting, but
Okay.
this would constitute one. He's just taking a shot, right?
Sure.
So the first is a 2, and the second is a 2. So take with that what you will, Carrie. I think he's shooting into the buildings on this side. He is not a great shot at all. His hand's shaking at the trigger. He's definitely looking at Luthor like this is.
Just like relax, pal, relax.
We'll say for flavor, Matthias, you were beginning to take like a step forward, and then these gunshots are just coming wildly out of the alley, and you're like, okay, hold on, maybe I won't go forward. So yeah, these shots just go wide, just go everywhere. They're actually slamming into some of the boxes that Willie had blown up previously, just slamming into all of this debris behind. All right, it is now its turn, unless Matthias wants to interject.
Oh no, let's see what it does.
Okay. So it turns, looks at all of you, and hisses. Like this just hiss comes out of its mouth, and it's like the S of the hiss almost like sinks into your ears for a moment, gives you chills down your spine, and then it turns and it's gonna sprint in the opposite direction of Matthias. It's trying to run. That is its turn. And
I would like to go at this point.
okay.
How far away is it from me?
It is just beginning to sprint away. It's maybe, I mean, it's still in eyesight, even in the dark here. So it's barely
All right.
house length away, probably at this point.
I am going to do functionally the same thing I did last turn. I'm going to run towards it, and I am going to spend 2 power points to throw a particularly hard bolt at it.
Okay.
And that's an 8.
Okay. As it's sprinting away, it gets 3 really good strides. You just see the claws out on its fingers as it's sprinting. The bolt slams into its back, and it actually stumbles. It falls down, and it goes into kind of a roll, stands back up, and is actually like leaning against the building to compose itself. You have stopped it. It is no longer sprinting away. Luthor.
I'm gonna say I've had enough of this ugly son of a, and I'll cut out the rest because it's a PG. And I will
Is it?
shoot. I don't know. It's whatever you want it to be, I guess. So I'm gonna shoot twice with my 2-gun kid. So first shot is just normal. There's 9 on my first shot, and then not so good on my second shot, only a 2, which is after my penalty is a 0. So.
Okay. Yeah, that first shot slams into it. Were you shooting anywhere specific?
Just in its main body mass.
All right, just
trying to
Yeah, just torso.
put it down. Yeah.
Yeah, as it's holding on to this wall, you just turn the corner, 2 shots, and one of them slams into it, and it reacts with this speed. As that first shot slams into it, it pushes off the wall, almost like a cat when they get scared, how it just shoots up. That's kind of how it reacts against the wall and pushes itself back into the street. So the second shot would have hit it, but it just slams into the wall and lodges itself into the wood of the structure there.
I'll just say, I don't think my bullets are doing enough work here. If one of you magic types wants to do something.
All right. We have another round here. We have Matthias. You want to spend a Benny?
Yeah, I'll spend the Benny.
All
You all
right.
got a Benny.
All right, to keep the cards straight here is Luthor.
Nice.
Here is Willie.
Sure 10.
Here is Jonah. And here is your redraw. All right, so I believe that puts Luthor first.
I'm just gonna. Well, can I still shoot it?
Yeah, if you'd like.
Okay. I'm just gonna start with my 2 pistols. I'm just gonna unload again. Let me roll. First one is a 7, and then the second one is a 1.
Just torso again?
Yeah.
All right, so you just adjust your arm, fire off 2 more shots. The first one does slam into it. You just see it, it slams into the stomach, and you see it reacting to it, but it doesn't seem to be hurting it. Whatever this is, it doesn't seem hurt at all. So this bullet slams into him. He does turn around to face the group now as you're all kind of filing out of this alley all in the same spot. And it's facing you and doesn't seem to be immediately trying to run. It's looking at you now and trying to weigh its options. Is that your turn?
I'm just gonna wait and see.
All right.
Both barrels aiming at it.
Let's see here. Willie, you are up.
So from what we can see, it's not hurt at all from any of the attacks, right?
It doesn't appear to be.
Well, I'm getting angry now because I wasted 2 of my swoopers on you, and I don't really think that it's working. So why don't you just tell us what you're trying to do here, you ugly little cuss?
I mean, this sounds like persuasion to me.
Okay.
Let's see.
Let's see. My persuasion is a 6.
Yeah.
Got a 4.
Okay. So you're just talking to it. You kind of lower the hose a little bit as you're just talking to it, and it's looking at you, and its head kind of cocks a little bit as you're saying this. Is there anything else you'd like to do for your turn?
No, I'm gonna hold.
Okay. Jonah, you're up.
Yeah. Seeing what's going on and seeing that we're not really affecting this thing, I'm definitely trying to get a little closer as it's speaking with Willie. So I'm just running parallel behind the alleys. I'm going to try and get out in front of it so I can get a better vantage point on where it's going.
Okay.
What it's headed towards.
All right.
Keep talking to the damn thing. Let's get it distracted so maybe we can I don't know, trap it or something. We gotta stop
Talk it to death.
Well, that
So-
clothesline back there is a doozy. We could probably get it going on that.
So as you're trying to work your way around this thing, it does glance at you, but the more that the rest of the group is sort of talking or causing any sort of commotion, it's looking back at the group, but like it knows you're there, but it seems to be more cautious of the people who have who have hit it with things. So as you're walking around it's letting you, at least. Now it is its turn, and it actually sprints now towards Matthias, Willie, and Luthor. In this one swift, as it's looking, glancing, and then it looks forward and just 2 strides, just doosh, and just leaps towards you with its claws out. It is going to make a claw attack towards Matthias.
Oh
What is your parry?
Surely that's here somewhere. 5.
All right. Okay. So as this thing leaps towards you, one of its claws actually, you go to dodge out of the way, and as it's slamming down, the claw hits your arm, but it's just one of the claws rather than all 4, and it just kind of slices down, just leaves you with just a little scratch. But now it is standing right there, right next to the 3 of you. And as it is standing here, it is towering over you. It has this kind of natural hunch to it, but as it stands up to sort of look more intimidating, you see it stands a good 3-4 feet over you, and it's just looking down at you, just snarling. You see drool kind of dripping down from the corners of its mouth. That is its turn. Now Matthias, you are up.
Son of a bitch. Alright, I am going to take a step back from it, and I'm going to cast armor on myself.
Okay.
That's 2 power points. That was an 8. So, plus 4 to my toughness.
Okay, yeah. And that makes your toughness an 8?
8 altogether.
Cool. I will make a note of that. Awesome. Alright. Now we're on to our next round. We have Matthias. We have Luthor. We have Willie. Willie in these 10s.
I know.
We have Jonah.
All right, that's the second time this game.
All right, so nobody wants to redraw? Perfect. So as this creature looms over you, it looks down and you see its eyes kind of just darting wildly. It's weird, like they're all black, but you can almost see where the light is reflecting where pupils would be. And as they're just glancing around wildly, having missed its attack against you, it turns and it leaps, and you see it scale up to the rooftop of the building you're standing beside. And it takes 3 strides, sprint, and leaps off, and you hear a shattering of glass in the alleyway that you came from. And Willie, you are up first.
Well, hell. Does this thing look like animal, or does it look like a large humanoid being, or can we not tell?
It appears very humanoid. It's just tall and clawed, and it's not like anything you've ever seen.
All right. Well, I'm gonna run back down to the corner and see if I can kind of see where it went, where the glass might be broken.
Okay, you run over basically to the corner of that building, kind of lean up against the building for some cover, peek over. Go ahead and make a notice roll for me.
I got a 2 and a 3.
Do you want to spend a Benny and reroll?
Yeah, I will. Alright, I got a 5 and a 6 that time.
Okay. Yeah, so peeking around, squinting your eyes to adjust in the darkness. The alleyways are a lot darker than the streets because of the lamps. You squint and you look and you see movement, and for a moment you jump, but you realize it's just the curtain from the window on this side of the alley. The glass seems to have been broken in into this pitch black building.
All right, so I yell that out to everybody. It went in there.
Okay. We are up to Jonah now.
I'm going through the damn window. I apologize for my internet, whatever the hell is going on here.
That's okay.
I'm going to follow through that window, absolutely.
All right, go ahead and make a athletics
Oh boy.
roll for me. We'll just see how smoothly this goes.
I exploded on my wild die, thank God. I have a 7 total.
All right, so Willie, you watch as this man just sprints past you, jumps up, and is like almost in like the fetal position before his arm even grabs onto the windowsill to push himself in. He just smoothly just jumps into this window. Jonah, your feet, your boots slam against the wood floor. It is pitch black in this home. Yes.
Can I see the figure in the darkness at all? Any sort of movement?
Make a notice roll for me, but subtract 2.
Oh boy. Okay. Luckily exploded on the die 4, so let's see if this does it. Oh, exploded again.
Ooh.
So that's what, 8? 9 minus 2 is 7. I can do math. 7.
All right. Okay, hold on a
Nice.
second. Let me clarify something.
I would also love to know if any of these fools can see me while I'm in there.
Okay, so as you come through, you're squinting your eyes. You're trying. You knew it was dark. You were trying to kind of adjust your eyes to darkness before you were jumping in. You basically jumped in blind. And as you're opening your eyes and just squinting, trying to see any shadows moving in the room with you, you do see a little bit of movement. And as you glance over, finally adjusting the just tiny bit of light coming through this broken window as the curtains are moving, you can see one figure standing, being held by this creature, this being that jumped in here. One claw holding onto a shoulder, one claw holding onto the side of this elderly looking woman. And it's just looming over her, holding her sort of in between you and it.
Can the others see where I am right now?
Currently, no. I mean, Willie saw you jump in, but
Okay.
other than that, no.
Okay. It's a dire situation. I'm really worried about this woman, obviously. I am going to try and make a deal with the devil. I'm going to cast a spell. Okay. I am going to cast Banish on this thing. It's a
Ooh.
veteran power. It's going to cost me 3 power points and a Benny to do the deal with the devil, but hopefully, hopefully it costs me nothing at the end of this deal. So, let's go with it. Wait for that cost.
You hear Luthor yelling, "Don't do anything foolish in there."
I never do.
Yeah, as you're sprinting around to the alleyway, you're, don't do anything stupid!
So, the first is I have to ante up, so I'm giving you a Benny for this.
Yes.
Next, I'm choosing my power. I'm picking, Banish. So I've got to make a gambling roll, which I did. I got a 10 on my gambling roll.
Okay. So you get to draw 7 cards. All right.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah, I think so. You draw 5 cards plus 1 extra card for a success or 2 with a raise.
Okay. Okay, so that's a success with a raise, right? Or not with a raise, but with a success.
Yeah, maybe it's just 6 cards.
Okay. Oh, but you know what? I have card sharp, so I do get the extra card.
Okay, yeah, that'll work.
Oh, I pulled a joker. That definitely means something. Okay.
Yeah, you
so,
get your Benny back.
I sure do.
Nice.
I just have 2 pairs. That's the largest I got was a pair of 10s and the joker.
Okay, so that...
Two pair, 2 sets of cards.
2 pairs.
5 power points, so that's a success, is it not?
Awesome. Yes, it is. I only needed the 3.
Yes.
Perfect. So, I believe Banish works the same way in Savage Worlds, although if this thing is harrowed, it's only banished for an hour. So
Okay.
it only knocks itself, the soul free, the Manitau free for just an hour. So I'm not sure what that does for you, Carrie, but if it's not a harrowed, then it follows the same rules as the original book, which I can bring up in just a second, unless you can find it first. I know it sends it far away from this old woman, and that's all I need.
All right, so the next step on the deal with the devil is making your spell casting roll.
Okay.
I believe it's opposed rolls.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do I get my wild die for this one?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, it's versus the thing's spirit.
Okay. I have a 14 total for my spell casting. Exploded
Wow.
on die 12. Baby.
Wow.
You don't get to exist, Carrie. Stop! Leave my old woman alone.
Okay. All right, so you, the 3 still outside, you're sprinting up, you're catching up to Willie. As you guys are nearing this window, this flash of light just comes out of the window, almost like lightning, just arcing out of this window. Luthor, you probably know what happened in there.
Comedically, I'd say, "Oh God, Jonah's dead."
I like to think it's just as he says, don't do anything stupid in there. Don't do anything stupid.
2 minutes.
Matthias, I'm gonna have you make a notice check for me.
A notice check.
Yep.
Well, my notice. Is a D8. That's not bad. That's a 4.
Okay. As you're sprinting up, right before that flash of light, you have this familiar feeling of almost a comfort to you now at this point, of the hair standing up on your arms and on the back of your neck. And as you're approaching this window, things almost slow down for a moment for you. And as you're sprinting towards this window, right as this flash of light is beginning to come through, you swear you see a tall, thin silhouette of a man. And the flash of light comes through, and once that flash is gone, it's dark in there once again. And this creature, as the flash disappears, the creature is gone. And you just see the old woman just standing there shaking. We are now out of combat, and you're able to act as you wish.
Great Avogadro's number, what was that? I run up to the window where he just did that spell.
It's gone. I can't explain exactly what happened, but he was here 1 second. He cast some sort of spell as he had this woman in its clutches and then disappeared.
The woman is just standing there just shaking.
He just disappeared?
I can't explain it. It's the devil's work. Whatever it was clearly sent here by Satan, and whatever it is, I seem to have scared it off. I can't explain it. But we saved this young woman.
Willie, are you in front of the window?
Yeah.
Matthias is coming up behind you, and he is going to move you to the side and vault into the room. Excuse me. And then...
Oh my.
It's still dark in the room?
Yeah, it is still dark.
Cool. I am still going to cast light.
Sure.
Which for me is you see like a playing card fly out of my hands and shoot into the middle of the room, and suddenly the room is well lit. Spell casting roll for that.
I'm definitely giving Matthias a look there. A look that is sort of sizing him up, but also a little... he's upset a little.
That's an 8.
Okay, yeah, easy enough. The card flips into it almost like stabs into the ceiling and then just illuminates the whole room. You see the lady kind of flinch, but is still so out of it that she doesn't seem to really know what's going on right now.
Yeah, Matthias is not paying attention to any of the actual people in this room. Matthias is looking everywhere and just like searching things, and after maybe like 30 seconds of just basically tossing the room, jumps back out the window and starts searching the alley.
Okay, you guys observe this happening.
I'm gonna go in gently, like careful, not.
So Willie
jumping.
falls into the climbs over and falls into the room carefully.
I'll move over. I'll offer Willie a hand to help her through the window.
Okay.
I'll grab it. Thank you.
I understand this is very unfortunate circumstances that we might meet, but my name is Jonah Ward. This is my partner, Luthor Richter.
I look through the window and wave.
I'm Willie T. Colestock, daughter of Willie T. Colestock.
Well, clearly she did a good job in raising you, as you found such a wonderful, exciting, not horrific at all profession.
Well, it's a he, actually. My daddy's name is Willie, and my name's Willie, too.
I see. It's wonderful to meet you, Willie.
I apologize
Pleasure's all mine, I'm sure. Now, what's this you're saying about he just disappeared? He cast a spell, made himself disappear?
Well, clearly that's within the realm of possibilities. You saw your friend just now play some sort of cheap parlor trick with his cards. It exists.
I suppose so. And then I want to look to the lady and say, "Are you all right?"
She's still just trembling, and you actually see her turn and like walk over and sit down, and she's just like her fists are clamped together, and she sits down, and you just hear her muttering prayers. She's just praying.
I've got some it's like a lavender balm that I mixed up. I'm gonna just kind of go over to her and just put a little bit on her hands and her wrists and just tell her it's gonna be all right.
Okay.
I put I'll crawl in the window too, and I'll apologize to the woman for her window and everything and the mess we're making. And then I take a silver dollar and I put it on her counter. I was like, hopefully this will take care of the window for you, ma'am.
She doesn't really seem to be paying attention right now, but you set that down, your boots kind of crunching against the glass that has spilled into the home. Yeah. And then you hear Matthias, you in particular hear these footsteps crunching up, and the deputy rounds the corner, sees you're the only one still outside, rounds the corner, he has his gun drawn, and as he rounds the corner, he kind of points the gun, immediately takes it off of you, and What the hell is going on?
Well, go ahead.
It would seem the situation is handled. There don't seem to be any other trespassers or the like about. Maybe something in the area still, so maybe keep your guard up. But there's a fine young lady in that there room that I imagine could use the presence of a law officer.
He looks at the window that you pointed at, and then turns and goes towards the front door.
Maybe use the door.
You inside hear the doorknob kind of jiggle a little bit, and then the knocking makes the lady kind of jump a little bit.
I was just going up to the window and telling them that it was the deputy that was at the door.
Okay.
Don't worry.
So the deputy's let into the home. He walks in and he's kind of looking around. He kind of glances up at the light just flowing from the ceiling and kind of looks at that for a second. And then
I would say that there was some horrible creature in here, was about to kill a woman, started casting some weird devil's tricks on us, and then disappeared.
I left this light inconspicuously in its tread.
Matthias at the window is like pointing up towards the card and being like, devil's trick.
It's like, I think I put enough bullets into it that it disappeared. Probably was scared and ran away.
That is the legend of Luthor Richter.
He seems to be. He doesn't really have any emotions on his face right now, as he just seems to be taking in the scene and your stories. And Willie, being the only one who hasn't spoken up about this light, he looks to you and he says, "That true?"
Oh no, sir, that's not true at all.
What?
You know me, I'm a straight shooter. I think my compatriots are a little bit nervous, but we saw this giant of a thing, and it was evil as heck.
What?
And we tried to shoot it, and we tried to get it to stop, but it would not. And it jumped into this room, and I didn't see what happened after that, but I saw a big flash of light. And then the light card,
Willie?
it flew in that window.
Oh, Willie.
I don't know who did it, but it flew in the window.
And the deputy looks over at Luthor and at Jonah. Kind of nods a little bit. So what I'm hearing is that it's not handled. We may have scared this thing away, but now we're working with devil creatures?
It had black eyes, big as saucers,
Teeth.
and it was strong.
This just gets worse and worse by the second. I will take care of this woman. And he looks over at the woman that's still just sitting there shaking. I will take care of this woman. The four of you go to wherever it is you're staying. And none of you, and he looks at Jonah, Luthor, and Matthias, none of you leave town.
Wasn't even thinking of it. Never crossed my mind.
Would not even imagine.
Shit.
Your beautiful town
Oh,
is impossible to leave.
sure, I'll stay in town.
I'll be meeting up with you in the morning.
Yeah.
And he opens the woman's door and holds his hand for you to file out of the house.
Jonah is just dejected. He leaves first. He's shaking his head.
I give him a little pat on the back, though, like, good job for what it's worth.
Yeah, so
She was in danger. I thought we'd get out. The other one, she's got a big mouth. I'm sorry. I tried.
What are you talking about? I got a regular mouth. You got a lion mouth. I don't know why.
Oh, man.
I was so close, Willie. I liked you so much a couple minutes ago. Ow! No, I cough into the street.
You know what, Mr. Ward? I don't know why you felt you had to lie to that man.
Because I could have got out of this godforsaken town. I mean, town that I love so much.
Well, you seem angry, and I think you need to do some meditating.
Meditating. I'll take that under advisement, Willie. I thank you so much for your advice in this time and your truthfulness that has lent me so much joy in my life.
I'll say, look, we're all here for the same reason, killing creatures, I guess. Why don't we go to the local saloon and first drinks on me?
Well, I like the sound of that. I need to drown whatever this was out. That was scary.
Yeah, come on.
And I want to hear more about why this man wants to leave so bad. I've been here all my life.
Some of us enjoy the open road more than others.
I see.
I get an itch if I have to stay anywhere in one place for too long. That's all. I didn't catch your name, sir. A card trick.
Oh, my apologies. My name's Matthias. Matthias McCain.
Matthias McCain is
New
good
in
ring
town,
to it.
as it happens.
You as well.
And you are?
I'm Jonah Ward. This is my compatriot, Luthor Richter, greatest gun in the West.
I believe it. Except for all that shooting you did at first, all them bullets flying everywhere.
Oh, well, I'm not the gunman.
Started, but
Matthias, as you can tell, I'm the face of the operation.
I just say
that
nothing.
was you. Yeah, maybe you leave yours in the holster.
Well, I don't know if you two are up to no good. Everybody was suspicious of you when you came in town. And I'm not sure that I feel any less suspicious after this.
Oh, everyone's a little suspicious of well-dressed man. Comes with the status.
Well,
In fact, we're here.
that and the line.
So our regular job is searching for wanted criminals. And then, like, I could pull out one of the wanted posters, you know, just like kind of maybe tucked into my shirt. See?
Before this town started suspecting us of things we had nothing to do with, this was our lucrative business, and we were damn good at it.
Well, have you ever seen anything like that before?
I look at Luthor like I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say.
And honestly, out of character, it's like, I don't know how much we've seen of monsters. Like, I would say that probably not a lot, at least for my character.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was thinking this is one of the first experiences ever.
Yeah. I'd say I've seen a lot of weird people, but nothing that strange.
Whatever that was. It
Well,
isn't
if
anything
it
I
made
want to be a
itself
part of.
disappear, couldn't it come back anytime?
Yeah, I suppose so. And there's no telling that this was the only one either.
Yeah.
I think, and I understand our hesitation to do so, is the kind deputy is watching our backs and asking for us to meet him in the morning. But I was thinking maybe we might go back to that crime scene. I know that sounds like I'm itching to work.
That's
which
what
is
I want to
something-
do.
Yes, if we can find some sort of clue as to what was happening there, what this thing wants out of this two-shit town, what we can do about it, if we can solve it quicker, all the better.
Well, now you're making sense.
All right, so are we heading to the saloon or are we heading to the crime scene?
I would reluctantly go to the crime scene because I know that's my job, but I will have a dejected look on my face.
We'll have plenty of time to drink on the road, Luthor. Buy you a nice bottle of bourbon before we leave.
Plus, you don't really want to be 3 sheets to the wind if that thing comes back.
Or maybe I do.
I take your point.
I tell you what, he shoots better with a couple shots in him. You should see. You get him just a little tipsy, and he's the best shot in the West.
I understand that.
All right, so we'll say you were walking as you were talking, and you're basically in front of the saloon when the crime scene is brought up, and you see Luthor's shoulders like sink a little bit as you all turn and head down the street towards the homestead of the crime scene. You walk in, and it's empty right now. The deputy is off with that traumatized woman, and you stand seeing the same scene that you had stepped into just before the chase. You see the body laying in blood on the bed. What would you like to do?
Oh, it is a grisly sight. Oh, I feel sick to my stomach just looking at it.
I would like to investigate the wound on the body.
All right, so as Jonah is covering his mouth, Willie just walks in and kind of turns the shoulder just barely. You hear like, you hear just like the sticky sound of blood that's been stuck, just being like pulled apart just a little bit, just this like squish. As you just move the shoulder to look at the wound. Go ahead and make a medicine roll for me.
Oh, God.
Or is it healing? Is it healing in this?
Healing?
Yeah, we'll do healing. Healing will be fine.
Oh, the smell alone. You're just really getting in there, aren't you, Willie? Damn.
Golly, sir. Put your spurs on.
Put your whole fist in, why don't you?
All right, I got a 5.
Okay. Yeah, looking at this, the blood is it's almost dry at this point from this puncture wound. As you're looking at it, you see 2 puncture wounds. You see smaller ones in between. This wound on this person's neck was a bite.
Maybe this is one of them Draculas that everyone's talking about.
It does certainly look like a bite.
Well,
From the look of that creature, since it was so close to me, did I get a good look at its teeth?
You did. Before I address that, are any of you skilled in occult?
I don't think so.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So yes, you did get a really good look at its teeth, and kind of looking at the wound and thinking it would be a pretty good match, if not perfect.
Could I look to see if there's any kind of tracks to indicate like where it came from?
Okay. There's investigation in this, correct?
I think that's rolled into knowledge. Otherwise, I was thinking survival because I think that's tracking.
Yeah, that'll be
Is it-
perfect. Go for
It's
that.
still called tracking?
Not I think in this edition.
Ooh, okay.
I think they rolled it into survival. That's just a 3.
Looking around, you see quite a few footprints in here, mostly from the sheriff, the deputy that was in here before. You see even your own as you sprinted after this thing out the window the quickest way. The window's not busted in like the other house. It looks like it was open. That's about all you can tell from this.
Carrie, I have a question.
Mhm.
Back when it revealed its claws, was it like changing into claws, or were they already claws and they extended out from the sleeve and we got a good look at them?
It was hard to tell. It was very dark. Its figure before was moving too quickly. It would be hard to ascertain one or the other.
Gotcha. You don't honestly believe that there might be a vampire in this town, do you?
Well, it was definitely a bite, and the teeth matched this bite mark. And that thing was otherworldly for sure. So if that's not a vampire, I don't know what is.
I mean, hell, Jonah, did you see how many times we shot that thing?
I saw, I was aware. Absolutely, I saw what happened. A vampire? Like a vampire?
Can't believe it.
A vampire? You sure?
Are you gonna be all right? I got some smelling salts in my bag.
No, I'm perfectly fine. I'm just trying to muster myself up to the idea that I might go down against a vampire.
Well, it'd be a way to go.
That's true, Luthor. It would be
Better than by the hands of a jealous lover.
It's very true, and there are many, so I hope the vampires get me first. Okay. Well, what would they want with this town besides feeding? There's not much in a motive behind something like what we saw.
Is there anything in the room that would help to identify who this person is?
Make a notice roll.
Okay. Wait, I think I'm deep. I'm not going to try to find it. I'm just going to do that again. Right, I got a 5.
Okay, looking around, you mostly see, I mean, they seem to live a pretty simple life, just very minimal items. You see, like, just stacks of clothing, not even, like, put away. You are probably the only one that would have really known who this was. Not a real active member of the community or anything, kind of kept to himself, but this was Jeremiah Pence. He was about, I mean, he was maybe nearing his 50s, just a normal guy. Average in like he didn't go above or beyond for anything, but he wasn't a bad man.
Would I know if he had any relations in town?
He had a wife a few years ago, but she would have fallen ill, and that was probably what kind of made you even know who this was in the first place, was the funeral and getting everything arranged, and that's kind of probably when you formally met him. But other than that, no, he had no children, no other family in town.
Well, I know this man. His name's Jeremiah Pence, and he doesn't have any family, so it would make sense to attack someone who doesn't have anybody around that's going to miss them or miss them very quickly. But that is curious, because that means this thing is calculating. And why would it care if it's so big and fierce and can disappear like that?
Right. Well, I guess it has to keep its feeding grounds, right? I mean, if it wants to stay alive, if it's gonna survive, it's gotta have something to eat. And if the town's aware, they end up sending Luthor Richter after him. Maybe it's trying to play smart.
Do we have...
Well, that's troubling.
Is there any evidence that there's another one? Or what can we do to, like, convince authorities? I guess maybe find its lair.
It's true. It ran off in the direction outside of town, right? Or at least it was trying to make way out of this place. Must have somewhere nearby that it's hiding out in.
I thought you said it disappeared.
Well, before it ran into that woman's house, right? It was making way through the alleyway.
Oh, right.
It was running deliberately until our beautiful
right.
Mr. MM here got in the way and gave it chase the other way.
And that's the other thing I've been thinking about, actually, is that we were hammering that thing pretty hard with bullets and the like, and and it jumped into somebody's room and tried to maybe feed on them, which makes me.
I have to say, the few moments before that thing disappeared, it was almost bargaining with me. It took it hostage. It was like someone who stole a train and needed a way out, right? It was holding it like any step closer to that thing, and it would do what it was going to do, right? So my thought is maybe we did affect it in some way. It had to be afraid of us to think it had to make a bargaining chip in that moment, right?
Yeah, and it was a hair close to me, and then it ducked and ran into another building. So that speaks to a non-animalistic intelligence to my mind.
I think you're right about that. But we're not going to be able to beat it if we don't know what can hurt it.
Amen. I mean, clearly daylight, not the thing here, right? Or light in general, right? I don't know.
Oh, that's true. Maybe it has to be daylight.
At this point, I'm going to have all of you make a smarts roll.
Oh boy.
Ooh. I don't even know what my smarts are.
I got a 4.
I have a 9.
5.
That's a 15.
Wow.
Oh boy.
You just graduated college.
Yeah.
All right, so as you're kind of tossing this word vampire back and forth, you've all heard of, you've heard the lore of vampires. You've obviously never seen one. You've never heard of anyone who's seen one. But what you have heard is that they could pass as human. They could look like any one of you. You've heard sunlight hurts them. You know holy symbols hurt them. You know they have a mist form. You know that vampires have to be invited in order to enter an establishment. You know the legend of piercing its heart with a stake or with silver. There are many different branches to the lore of a vampire. Some of it sounds like
Hogwash.
some of it sounds like it's probably not true. But that was also before you saw that thing in the street, so.
Yeah, I'm afraid we may not be able to rely on the simple superstitions, right? I don't see us dropping a grain of rice in front of this thing and watching it count. You saw the way it broke through that damn window. I'm sure it didn't ask for permission before it did it, right?
That's right.
I say we go, well, I'll go to the tavern. I know, don't laugh. But maybe we can ask around for maybe some rumors, like some strange things people may have heard that otherwise disregarded.
Right.
Like asking along these lines. Do they have any suspicions about anybody?
Or maybe places that have recently gone abandoned or not safe to check out. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Luthor. And it just coincides with us all becoming belligerently drunk.
It just happens to be that way. I can't help it.
If it does, it does.
You know what, though? This is going to make a hell of a story. We are going to sell so many penny books with Luthor Richter fights Dracula. Oh, I can see it just now. Traveling city to city, selling books by the pound.
Like, I start trying out different lyrics, like, vampire, what does that rhyme with? Funeral pyre. Damn tired.
Damn tired.
Crier.
All right, so you're
Liar.
you're kind of
Willie.
running all these rhymes through your head as you all head out together towards the saloon again. As you walk in, you're still kind of running through different rhymes, all of you kind of just spitting some out at different times. And as you walk in, you see four other people. It's late. You see four other people sitting. One of them is asleep with their drink in their hand, just face down on the table. The other three are awake, and two of them are sitting at the same table. One of them's alone with just shot glasses stacked and empty. You walk in and you see the barkeep sitting with a shotgun in his hand, and he's just kind of sleeping against the wall.
Is this like a Saturday or a weekday? Like, what are we?
It's probably a weekday.
Oh, this place is dead. I mean,
Pretty late.
you know, I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm gonna go grab my guitar from my horse
Okay.
and come in and sing a little ditty to try to wake everyone up and get their spirits rising.
All right. Go ahead and make
So
that
while-
performance roll. What were you gonna
While
say?
he's doing that, I would like to take the drink of the man who is asleep.
As you're walking in, easy enough, you just grab the drink. He's holding on to it, and his arm comes up, and you just pull it out, and his arm just dunk, thuds against the table.
Before I make my performance roll, I'll say a couple of the lines of the song I'm singing. All right.
Okay.
I'm a cowboy. On a real horse I ride. I'm wanted, dead or alive. It's an old song I heard from back out east. And I will make my performance check. I will spend a penny on this if I fail, because I don't want to screw this one up. All right.
You all are in for a hell of a treat. He is quite a singer.
8, so a success was a raise.
Nice. All right, so yeah, he says, "I'll be right back," and he rushes off. The three of you go in, you grab the drink. You guys maybe find a little table, at least temporarily, and as you're sitting there together, he runs back in, goes over, sits on the stool. You see him kind of plucking at some of the strings, making sure everything's tuned, and then clears his throat and immediately starts playing, and you're impressed. I mean, he's good with a gun and good with a guitar, and you kind of look up at him, and you're just enamored for a moment.
Did the townspeople wake up then?
Not at first, but as you're kind of getting into it, you see quite a few of them. Their chairs actually like scrape against the wood as they're turning to more face where you're sitting and actually listen. You see some of them with their eyes, just squinted, super drunk, just sitting there looking at you. The other one that was asleep, he's not waking up. He's still asleep.
I'm gonna take Luthor's hat off his head as long as he gives me permission there, and I'm gonna set it out in front of the stool and see if we can pick up some tips.
Okay, yeah. You kind of flash it, spin it around, set it on the stool.
I'll even walk around to some of the only 3 people in here and kind of toss out the hats, see if they'll put some money in. You're here in the musical stylings of one Luthor Richter, the greatest gunslinger in the West, the man who caught liberty. Stick around.
You see one person, as you go by the first one, they just kind of pretend not to see you, and as you go by the second one, they kind of give you a little hat tip, but nothing else. And then the third one that you're walking by, you kind of pause there for a moment as you finish talking, and they're just sitting there for a second, and then they kind of look around and they grab Just a little silver dollar and just.
Oh, I hate this damn town. I'm taking a walk back.
Well, a
to the-
dollar would be a lot, so at least we got that.
Yeah.
All right, you keep playing your song. Everybody's watching. Their spirits definitely lift as they see you getting more and more into this song, and everybody's enjoying it, except for the guy that's asleep. He's probably enjoying it, but
So once everyone's like, when I finish and everyone's warmed up, like, I guess then we could start asking the questions.
sure.
Is there anybody of the listeners who's, so you said everyone's enjoying it, nobody was like looking kind of nervous or any kind of thing suspicious?
Nope, everybody seemed to truly enjoy the show.
Is there anyone notable of these few patrons, like anyone Willie or any of us might recognize around town?
Everyone in here are just regulars to the saloon.
Right. I guess I'll walk up to the bartender.
Okay.
And sort of wake him up from his falling asleep against the shotgun there.
Are you kind of just like grab a glass and slam it against the counter, and he kind of jumps and
Excuse me, gentlemen. My name is Jonah Ward. These are my compatriots. We've come by your fine establishment to ask you just a few questions as we're become makeshift investigators in this town of yours, trying to keep the peace, as it were. And that piece has become incredibly important as of this morning. So if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you a few things. You all right with that?
he kind of takes a breath, cracks his neck. He leans forward. The only reason I'm not pulling this shotgun on you right now is because the dumbass sheriff says you might be helping him out with something.
Well, brains and beauty, aren't you something?
One of us has to be.
Well, I have a question for you, sir, and don't let your bad disposition get in the way of it. We are asking around if anyone has interacted with anything unexplainable in these past days, anything of great tragedy, of great sadness, of great strife that we may speak to. Do you know of anything like that?
Well, let's see. And he kind of pats his shotgun into his other hand and is just kind of looking at it. Well, there are the murders that started when you rolled into town. I'd say that's pretty weird.
I understand the circumstances, and trust me, we've been made aware of those circumstances. What I'm asking you, is there anything out of the ordinary besides those situations? Anything that we might be of help with?
He sets his shotgun on the counter now and grabs a glass, sets it on the counter, pulls a bottle, doom, pours a little bit of it up to the rim, closes the bottle, pushes the drink towards you. You can drink that, and you can get the hell out of our town. That's what you can do to help, sir.
So at this point, I know the bartender, right?
Yeah.
So, did you say his name already?
I did not. He's just a dick. Like, you just know he's a sour guy, and he doesn't not like the people of this town or like the regular patrons, but he's not a kind man.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll say his name.
He has made this much clear. Like he's his actions have shown us.
So since he probably knows me, but might not be, it might not like me as a friendly person like the other people of the town would, I'm still just going to say, look, I know that the people in this town do not trust these two gentlemen, but I can say for a fact that they had nothing to do with the recent misfortunes, and they are attempting to help, and I think that will be very necessary. So I would just say, if you could just cut them some slack just for a little bit, that would be great.
Thank you, Willie. I appreciate your speaking on our behalf.
You're welcome.
I just saw your message, Kate. Sage advice.
He reaches over, he grabs onto the shot glass. He takes the shot, slams it down. Well, I think you all can get out now.
Well,
all right.
Luthor, it seems we've got a drink on the house, and I'll pass him the drink.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your kindness.
Yeah, I must say this is the kindest town we ever been in. Good old two shit. I'll make for the door.
As you're walking out, he goes, "City pricks."
Well, that didn't go as planned.
As walking out, I turn to the bartender and I'm like, I ain't with them. And I still leave.
I'm with this.
Well, I'll tell you, the only other person I want to talk to is the doc. He might know a little bit about these bodies or the wounds. He's the smartest guy I know, but he's probably sleeping right now.
Is this your local barber?
No, he's a local doctor.
Okay.
Doc trainer.
I see no reason not to.
Not to wake him?
Oh, not to go see him. Let's give him a wake.
All right.
All right. So you would know he actually lives in a little like one room home beside the hospital. Beside the little, I say hospital. It's basically like a med bay you would see in some sort of like school or something like this. Very small, very minimal. But as you head that direction, you come up to the home. Just very small, one-room house. Door is shut. Lights are off, but you do see lights on. You see lanterns lit inside of the hospital.
Okay. Well, it looks like he could be up, working. So we could try the hospital first. Actually, since we're right by the door, I'll just knock to see if he answers his door.
You just give it a couple knocks, wait a second. No answer.
You know this doc fellow well?
Oh, yes.
Say, let's
Very well, and he can be trusted.
let's have Willie take the lead here because apparently we're not very popular.
Well, what are you saying, Luthor? Didn't you see the fruitful conversation I just had there with the bartender? People love me in this town. Willie should talk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
All right. As you head towards the hospital, it's large double doors. You open one up. It's. I mean, you would know it's not kept locked or anything like that. You open up the door. You see there are the 4 beds on the left, 4 beds on the right, and then the back area is where all the medicine is kept, and that area is locked up. And as you walk in, you see the doctor standing over the woman that you had saved in the home previously. She is laying down. You see him applying some sort of a bandage to her shoulder. You walk
Hey, Doc.
in. Yeah, he looks over and sees your company and kind kind of nods. What can I do for you, Willie?
I do just kind of quick introductions of the people with me, and then I say, well, we just were at the same place this woman was, and it was crazy. I've never seen anything like it before. I was gonna help out and take a look at that body of the latest man that was killed, but before I could even look, there was this dark shape darting out, and we chased him, and he was big and he was mean, and nothing that we were throwing at him was gonna make any damage on him. So we followed him into this lady's room, and then he just disappeared. But we're trying to figure out how to defeat him if he comes back, or what else his motives might have been. Curious to talk to this lady, and if you had any thoughts on it.
He looks to the woman. He's like, yeah, I'd be curious to talk to this lady too. She hasn't said a word since she got in here.
Oh my.
The deputy brought her in about an hour ago. Can't get anything out of her. And you're just looking at her, and she's still just sitting there, just trembling, just eyes wide. And then he says she's got some sort of a bite or something on the back of her neck here.
Oh no. Is it 2 puncture wounds?
He was like in the process of bandaging it, and he just kind of pulls it back, and he says, come take a look. And he has it pulled away, and it looks very, very close to the bite in the victim, just not as deep. It looks like it wasn't intended to kill.
It wasn't?
It was not intended to kill.
Are there like, does it look like it's getting worse around the wound compared to the rest of her body?
It looks very, very bruised, almost like abnormally so for how recently it happened. You just see it kind of just blue around it. But other than that, nothing really looks too different.
I'm going to look to the doc and, do you mind if
No, go
speak
ahead.
with her? Okay, thank you. I'm going to try and make eye contact with her. Excuse me, ma'am, do you remember me from before?
As you're talking to her, her eyes sometimes find yours, but they only stay for like not even a full second, and they just kind of drift off. She is somewhere else.
I asked the doctor, like, are you worried that maybe this poor woman has some sort of rabies or sickness like cholera? Maybe we should just be careful around her.
If this is the same thing that's been killing those people, we haven't dealt with someone that's lived, so I don't have anything to go off of here. But if you think caution is advised, what are you suggesting? Tying her up?
Well, we've heard a lot of things about vampires, but so far...
Vampires?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was getting at, Doc. The body that I saw in the room had its blood all drained out. And the thing we saw looked kind of like a man, but it had black eyes, all black, and big sharp teeth and long claws.
Willie.
It was not a
Willie.
man. What? I know what you're going to say. It was dark and I have got a wild imagination, but I swear to you that's what I saw, Doc.
I say we all saw it too.
Yeah, she's telling the truth.
And what if the thing about getting bit and not dying and then turning into a vampire is true?
What? I know this is grisly, but what happened to the other bodies, the 7?
We were instructed to burn them.
That's... Oh, we gotta make sure that other body, we need to keep an eye on that. Maybe we ought to call for the deputy, call for somebody to go back to that first crime scene, no?
That's a good point. And I think we might want to put this lady in the jail, as much as I hate to do it to her. I could try to. I mean, Doc, I've been practicing this healing thing. I could try it on her. I don't know if a crazy, hellish wound like that would be healed by regular means, but I could try.
Jonah, may I have a word with the lady alone?
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
And I'll swap places with Jonah to where I'm directly in front of the woman.
Okay.
And I would like to spend some power points and cast mind reading.
Okay.
Mm.
Cool. So that's a 9.
Okay.
And if I'm reading mind reading correctly, I get one question to which I can get a truthful answer from reading this woman's mind.
Okay.
So it's the same situation where I'm looking at her and her gaze is sort of wandering back and forth, and Matthias is going to look directly into her eyes and time it so that just as their eyes lock together, Matthias's eyes glow an electric blue for just a second, and it's mirrored in the woman's eyes as well. And mentally, I'm going in with the question of, what are you thinking about?
Okay. So, in this just split second, as your eyes meet, that electric blue in both of your eyes, and then you get the sharpest pain in the back of your neck. This bite at the base of your spine, and you feel it shoot through every nerve ending in your body. And then nothing.
All right.
The doctor trainer now at this point is like, what was that? What was that? And he's asking you, Willie, what was that?
I don't know. I've never seen him do that before.
What was what?
Nothing. I'm seeing things.
Oh, listen, I ain't no medical professional, but it seems like maybe she'd just been through a lot and she'd been traumatized. That neck injury looks like it hurts like something from hell, so maybe she just needs rest. It's been a real short time, so maybe we come back in the morning, but...
Yeah, I'm not against taking some caution, but I don't think throwing this woman in a jail cell is going to be what's best for her brain and the like.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try to spend some power points to do a healing.
Okay.
Power. So. I got a 3, so I'm gonna use another Benny to re-roll that.
All right.
That's better. That's a 6. Okay, so I touch the wound, and I've got this another container of stuff that seemingly just comes out of nowhere, and I rub it on the wound, and it just glows for a second, like phosphorescent, and then it soaks into the wound.
Okay, and as it does so, you see the puncture wounds closing. The puncture wounds themselves are gone. They're healed. But that intense bruising around is still there.
Willie, I don't know where you learned how to do that, but that is remarkable what you can do.
Thank you. It's all science. Science is so cool. Remind me to tell you about it when we've got more time.
Sure. Yeah, totally.
Dr. Trainer says, speaking of time, I think this woman needs to get some rest.
I would recommend maybe somebody keep watch on her. Maybe some of us would like to go see if that other body was taken care of already and couple of other us can kind of just keep an eye out over here.
I see no reason why that can't work.
I'll tell you what, Doc. I've got this. I got this slice right here on the side of my arm. Accident I had earlier. If I could maybe have that looked at, maybe I could just sort of hang around and just sort of keep her company while we take a look at that.
That sounds great. Have a seat. I'll get my kit. And he turns and starts heading to go get his gear to look at your wound.
Why don't I stay with Mr. MM here? I'm no use in any sort of physical altercation, but I was made for bodyguarding. I make a perfect sentry. How about it?
I mean, I'd welcome the company.
Perfect.
All right, so Matthias and Jonah are staying with the doctor, while Willie and Luthor head to see about the other body.
And I give Luthor sort of a pointed look, like I'm up to something.
Do I notice that?
Close my eyes, like.
Is there insight in this game?
Who knows?
I
I
don't
think
know.
I usually use notice for that.
I don't know what else it would be.
Yeah, you can make a notice roll if you'd like, Willie.
Okay.
No, Autumn. No.
Five.
You see them exchange glances. You have a feeling they've probably been traveling together for a while. Those glances could mean anything.
All right.
But you do notice.
I'm just gonna look at Jonah real quick and be like, don't do anything stupid.
Oh, Willie, look how much you already know me. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
He's got
Alright,
a heart
let's
of
go.
gold. Maybe an exterior of something else, but a heart of gold.
I
is
like
100
you.
This is 100% wool, I'll have you know.
We are splitting the party.
Oh, God.
Don't say it like that, Carrie. It's a good idea.
She's
It
like,
promise.
sounds really ominous when you phrase it that way.
It really does, doesn't it?
Luthor and Willie. Where are you heading?
I think we should talk to the sheriff.
Well, I did want to stop by that to see if they took care of that dead body yet, just to make sure, and then we can talk to the sheriff.
I guess we can. I just meant, should we tell him that we're doing that to see if he's already moved it or if we can move it or get rid of it?
Let's just peek on in. I don't think there's much harm in that.
All right, yeah, you go ahead and peek. I'll bring up the rear.
I do want to say, as we're walking, I would say, like, I apologize if my friend rubbed you the wrong way back there. We're used to capturing dangerous outlaws and desperados, not whatever the hell this is, so we may not be on our best manners.
Well, I wouldn't say he rubbed me the wrong way, only I wasn't sure what his motivations were for not being honest when I thought you all were helping the sheriff to catch this guy, so why not just be straightforward?
Well, some people don't particularly cotton to those who have abilities that aren't easily explainable. And so sometimes they go out of their way to kind of hide those abilities.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah.
That explains a lot.
Right. Yeah. So he was just trying to keep it kind of secret a little bit, but it's all good.
I guess I wasn't thinking about it in that way because I can figure out how to do so many things. I don't have special abilities. I just, I use what I have around me.
It's probably the better way, honestly.
Well, now I know. Yeah, I don't think he rubbed me the wrong way. It's just more, I wasn't understanding. These people, you have to understand, I've known them all my life,
Yeah, right. I totally understand. And then, like, I guess I kind of like peek up into the window or whatever to see like if that body is still in there.
Okay, yeah, looking through, the house has now been closed up, when it was wide open before for the investigation. It is now closed up, and you see what appears to be a body underneath, like kind of wrapped in a sheet right now, waiting to be removed in the morning.
So I say, well, hopefully this body won't get up in the middle of the night because there's one inside. So I don't know. Do you want to go talk to the sheriff first, or do you want to maybe shove a stake through its heart?
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
It might look a little incriminating.
I know. I'm scared. That's why I think. See, I tend to be more of a. I tend to be more honest about things. So if we did do that, I would tell him the truth. So I wouldn't be able to lie about it.
Right.
But I'm okay with doing it still. Or we could tell him. I mean, it wouldn't take too much extra time to just, because I don't think we gave him all the information about the creature either. I don't think he knows.
If you take lead on this, they don't really care for much for me or my friend. If you would want to talk to the sheriff or the deputy and see what they say, that would be excellent. And I'm here to support you.
Heart thing.
Yeah, but I mean, that might not seem popular with them either, but I guess we can just see what happens.
That's fine. Is the sheriff's, office close to where we are right now?
It's a fairly small town. You could get there in a few minutes, especially with you leading, knowing exactly where it is. It's not too far.
I think we should do that so we don't have to break into the house. Because if you get breaking and entering on yourself too, you're never going to leave.
And molesting a corpse usually isn't looked highly upon. Yeah.
All right, so you head for the sheriff's office. Jonah and Matthias, what have you been up to since they've left? The doctor has seen to your scratch, cleaned it. It didn't really need much of a bandage, but he wrapped it anyway.
And that's why Spittler, South Dakota has the best coffee of pretty much any town I've ever been in. I've been in a fair few towns. What about you, Jonah?
Best coffee? Oh, Colorado Springs, maybe? New York? Oh,
New
Montana?
York?
Oh, sure. I've been all over. Look at me. You think you can dress like this and not see the world in it?
So you from back east, or?
I'm from all over. From just about anywhere you can pick on a map.
I know just what you mean.
Matthias, I got a question for you. I don't want you to take this the wrong way, okay? Because we're being cordial. And in fact, I think you and I have more in common than we think. How is it that you can be so blatant?
Blatant. I mean, I've always fancied myself a straight shooter. Not much of a gun hand, honestly, but, just more of a...
But a hell of a card shark?
I do love to play card games. Say, do you want to play a card game? Matthias is going to pull out his cards and start shuffling.
I don't want to play, but I would love to see that deck you're holding.
Oh, this deck? Yeah, all right. Hands it to you. It's just a regular deck of cards, technically.
I'm going to look it over because that's not normal for me. That it's just totally different experience for me. I'm shuffling through. I'm looking at the faces. I'm turning it over.
Jonah, make a spirit roll for me.
Okay. Okay. An 8.
Okay. As you're shuffling, it's that sound that you've heard over and over and over, the cards slapping into each other. as you're mixing them together.
And I think Jonah's very dexterous with it. Matthias would totally recognize that this is a fellow card player.
And as you're shuffling these in your hands, this ringing starts to grow stronger and stronger in your right ear, almost to the point where it's too loud to not flinch. And right before you flinch, you see out of the corner of your eye a tall, thin man, and then the ringing stops. There's nobody standing there.
I hand it straight back to him. Just be honest with me, because I think that you know what I am, and I think I know what the hell you are, okay? Do you see him too?
Jonah, what you did in that room...
I didn't do anything in that room. That wasn't me.
What happened then in that room raised my hackles in a way that pretty much nothing else in this world has, with very, very few extremely notable exceptions. When you say him, do you mean the Thin Man?
I think Jonah's world breaks. So you do, you see that son of a bitch?
He is in Little Rock. I saw him tonight. Jonah, I've been hunting this Thin Man for 6 years. I will find him, I will kill him.
Did you meet him?
Yes.
Have you seen him in the flesh? You share bread with him?
No, we met, 6 years, 7 months and 22 days ago, by my reckoning. He come into our town, to me and my daddy's workshop, and that was the day I lost my dad. And I've been looking for him ever since. Because I'm going to make his neck make the same sound that these cards make when they get shuffled.
Matthias, I can't be here. If that thing is here, if whatever it is, the Thin Man, whatever we want to call it, him, if he's here, I can't be here.
I'm putting my hand on Jonah's shoulder to comfort him and also to keep him from getting up. Jonah, look at me. Everything's going to be fine. If the Thin Man is here, if the Thin Man decides to approach us in any way, I will drag him to hell with or without me, and you will not have to worry about it.
I don't think you follow, Matthias. These cards, they're different for me. And I take out my deck and I show it to him, and the facing on mine actually has the Thin Man represented. So on the king, it's him in the same view that you and I have seen him, right? Every time I use mine, every time I cast, every time I do anything that this stupid fucking deck has told me to do, he gets closer to me. He's chasing me. He's after me for something. Every spell I do, he takes a few more steps closer. And if he's here right now, I can't fucking be here. I cannot fucking be here, Matthias.
Jonah, listen to me. Both of Matthias's hands are on Jonah's shoulders at this point. Listen to me. I don't know what the Thin Man wants from you, but I know very much what I want from him. If he is chasing you and I am chasing him, this could work out very well for us. All I need you to do is to stay close, keep your wits about you, and if you see any hide nor hair of this Thin Man, you point him to me for a swift execution.
That's how I said.
I will protect you, Jonah.
I've never met anyone like me with the cards.
There's there's all sorts of things in this world, Jonah, and we, whether we wanted to or not, whether we had destinies beside the Thin Man or not, we are a couple of those things now.
Okay. I'll stay close. If you can keep them away, I'll stay close.
Thank you, Jonah. Don't worry, it's you and me. Alright? We'll take care of this.
And him.
And him.
Jonah's gonna stand up and then go outside for some air.
You both get a Benny for that.
Oh, cool.
Hey, thanks. Matthias
I'll
starts
take
shuffling his cards.
I'm sure we'll need it.
All right, so Jonah, you open the door and the air hits you, and it's like you can finally take a breath for the first time, and you're catching your breath. Your heart is beating so hard and so fast, and you stand out there for a moment, try to compose yourself. Matthias, you are shuffling these cards, and you, now that it's fallen silent again, you can hear the woman just kind of like whimpering occasionally in her sleep, and you see her just kind of moving, trying to get comfortable, and she's just, it doesn't look like she's sleeping very soundly. It looks like she's in some sort of pain, and at that, the Dr. Trainer comes from the back, and he's walking over. He looks at her, and he looks to you, and he says, there were some raised voices a minute ago. Is everything all right?
No, everything's fine. We just had a spirited discussion, Mr. Ward and myself. She looks to be in a bit of mild discomfort. Is there anything you could give her to make her sleep more soundly?
Yeah, you see he was already kind of bringing some things over, and you see him put a needle into a vial and just kind of pull a little bit, and kind of try to position her in a little bit of a more comfortable way. You see her kind of shifting, almost like fighting at his touch, and then as soon as the injection hits, she calms down and she looks relieved for a moment, and looks like for the first time tonight she's probably getting some rest.
Thank you, Doctor. For the bandage and for the care you showed, I appreciate you.
You're somewhat new here too, right?
Mm-hmm. I drifted into town a couple of days ago, I think. Yeah, I haven't been in town long, but seems like you got a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, you didn't hear it from me, but it's good you guys came into town. It's good you're helping out. The sheriff sure won't.
Well, we're doing our best, and for better or worse, I'm sure your sheriff is doing the best that he can as well.
At that, he actually like chuckles, like it's a genuine chuckle, and he just nods and says, "Sure." And he turns and starts heading back to the back room.
I'd like to step out for a second and check on Joe.
Okay. Jonah, your breath is finally back to you. Your heart is beating at a somewhat normal pace. And the door opens behind you.
Well, what do you say, Matthias? Are we looking at a new vampire or what?
Well, the doctor just gave the young lady something to help her sleep. So she seems to be calmed down, but it sounds as though we are looking at a classical vampire. Although obviously not everything we know is going to be true. I think perhaps we should wait for the others and see what they find in their investigations and sort of pool our collective knowledge and go from there.
That sounds fine to me.
Why don't you come back on inside? I'll make a coffee.
Okay.
All right, you guys head back in. Luthor and Willie, you arrive at the sheriff's office. You open up the door. You head in and you see the deputy.
Just a second. Before we go in there, I would like to turn to Willie and say, I know we're looking at the whole vampire thing, but maybe try to sell it more as a science-based thing, like it's a sickness that's spread by bite. Maybe there might be more understanding.
Yeah, you know what? The sheriff isn't real superstitious, and I could tell from earlier that he was more annoyed that the problem wasn't solved than anything else. So I think you could be right.
Some sort of sickness. Let's try to sell it like that.
All right.
I picked up a few things from my friend Jonah.
Let's hope not too many, right?
Right.
All right. I think I can do that now that I'm prepared. All right, let's go.
Yeah, you open the door, you walk in, and you see the deputy and the sheriff sitting at a table, coffee in hand, and they seem to be playing some sort of card game. It almost looks like Go Fish or something super simple. You see it mostly just trying to keep themselves awake. You come in and they glance over. Yeah?
Sheriff? Well, I think I might have a lead on what's been going on. And I would like your permission to go back into the murder house and check on that body.
They kind of glance at each other. Thought you were supposed to be sleeping, but what do you want to do with the body?
Well, who could sleep at a time like this? Well, the thing is, I think what's going on is, and she kind of looks back over at Luthor and like knowingly is like, a science thing.
Wink.
And you know, the subterfuge. And I think that there could be a risk of contagion. And I really think we need to take care of these bodies as soon as possible so that nobody else, you know, could potentially get sick.
The deputy, his eyes kind of widen at the word contagion, and he's like, what do you mean? What do you mean like how? Like how contagious?
Well, the woman that was bit earlier today has some sort of infection, and it's all kinds of crazy.
And she's having powerful, like, fits in her sleep. And I think it could be something potentially dangerous. Now, if you want to get into a discussion about the teeny tiny things that make people sick, we can. But I think it would be safer to just go ahead and get that body taken care of as soon as possible.
At that point, the deputy says, teeny tiny things that make people, and the sheriff's like, no, just, yes, you can go see the body or whatever it is you're wanting to do. If you think it's contagious, why do you want to go in and get closer to the body?
Oh, well, I've been looking at this stuff my whole life. You know, I've been spending a lot of time with Doc, and I think that I just can't get these things anymore because I've had so much exposure.
Yeah.
And plus, in a plague in a plague situation, generally you don't want the diseased corpses in your town, no matter where they are, just sitting out. You don't know if some sort of rat's gonna bite it and spread the virus or anything, or just get rid of it now.
But I do appreciate your concern about my well-being. I mean, if you'd rather do it.
No, I think you're more than capable
All right. So, do you have keys to his house?
The deputy kind of pats, grabs the keys, tosses them to you.
She
And
grabs
then-
for it but misses.
Perfect. And then
Oops.
he kind of looks at his hand and is like, I'm gonna go wash my hands, and stands up and leaves the room. And the sheriff just says, you do what you think best.
All right.
We'll talk to Dr. Trainer in the morning.
All right. Sounds good.
I'm just leaving as soon as I can. Like, I don't want any more contact with them.
All right, so you head back to the victim's house. Around this time, you actually see just the light blue light as the sun is just about to come up. It's not quite sunrise yet, but it's lighter. It's a beautiful morning, and you head over to this victim's house, unlock the door with the keys. As the door opens, there is a smell that's kind of wafting out towards you.
Yeah, I would put my kerchief over my face. So how are we gonna burn this? Like, you said he was in a bag or something, or not a bag, but a
just
blanket.
wrapped in a sheet. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I guess I.
Willie
on.
smells it too, but Willie don't care.
Fair.
So she just goes right in.
You got
I
a strong
think-
stomach.
Oh, I do. If I could tell you some of the things I've experimented
That's
on.
okay. Let's just
Oh,
get
okay.
through this.
Maybe another time.
Another time.
I think maybe before we burn it, we should try that stake thing in the heart, just to see if there's any kind of reaction, even though he's dead.
You and your experiments. I guess that's fine. If we can find something that we could use.
Well, I've got a knife. If I can find something in here that I could just sharpen up real quick, there's probably a loose board or, maybe a leg from a chair. Could I see if I could break off a leg from a chair? Or perhaps you could. I'm not very strong.
Yeah, is there something like that I could...
Yeah. There would be probably a chair and a desk.
Yeah, I would
If you
just...
break it the right way, it might be sharp enough already.
Yeah, I try to snap it off so it's kind of jagged. Is that a roll or anything?
You make a strength roll. We'll see how this pans out.
Right. Here's where we do a critical failure and I stab myself. Ooh, close. It was a 1 and a 2. I'm gonna spend a Benny just because I haven't yet, and let's see what happens. A 1 and a 3. Damn it.
So you're able to snap it off, but it snaps off at the nails. So it's just a plank of wood. Like, there's nothing sharp about it whatsoever. It just comes off with the nails still in it from it being attached to the other part of the chair.
I hand it to her and I say, "Get whittling."
All right, I'm gonna try to sharpen up the end of it with my knife.
All right. It definitely takes you a little while, but you're able to make a little stake with it.
All right. So what I want you to do now, are you squeamish?
Not rightly so.
Okay, good. I want you to look at his face the whole time to see if when the stake goes in, something happens, anything at all, or if he's just totally still.
All right. What are you gonna be? Am I doing the staking? Are you going?
Oh
to?
no,
You're not. You're not gonna do it.
I'm doing. No, oh no,
Oh,
you're
you're
not.
doing it.
I'm doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will monitor. I pull my gun out just and point it at the dead body's face, just in case.
All right.
I got him covered.
We're gonna pause there, and we're gonna switch over to Matthias and Jonah. The sun, the sun is coming up. It's kind of shining through the windows. The doctor comes over and refills your coffees. The coffee that you made earlier refills yours, and and comes over and begins taking the bandage off of the woman who's still just laying there. As he touches her skin, she flinches, and you see like the touch almost physically hurting. And as he removes the bandage, both of you are able to see almost like spider veins through the back of her neck, across her back. You see some of it going down one of her arms. It looks like that blue bruising is moving through her veins.
Now, in terms of sunlight into this room, is it sort of like, is it enough dawn that we're starting to see sunbeams in through the windows, or?
You are at this point. The sunbeams, they're coming through the window, and basically they're hitting like the middle aisle where you would walk through. He's looking at the wounds, and as he touches one of the veins, you see basically where he touches, the bruising ripples outward, and more spider veins almost like crackle like a windshield sort of thing outward where he touched, and he just turns his head towards you two, bewildered.
Doc, why don't you go take a break or something, or at least take a few steps away?
He doesn't even say anything. He just takes a couple steps back, and then turns around and heads to the back.
Ma'am, how about we take a walk into the light? How about some good sunlight to help you out, and I'll take her by the shoulders, whether she's listening or not, and sort of guide her into the sunbeam, see if that confirms any theories.
All right, as you take her shoulders and go to sit her up, her eyes shoot open, and she looks directly at you. You see, as they shoot open, underneath the bags under her eye, like they're sunken eyes, like she hasn't slept in 4 days. Her lips are pale and like crusted, and her eyes are almost milky as she's looking at you. You see her pupils kind of darting like they were before.
Hold on, you remember me? Hey, look at me.
As you say, look at me, her pupils meet yours, but then dart away once again. And then you hear her breathing as she's sitting up. It's like it's wheezing inward, and then it's a really short breath out. Wheezing inward, short breath out.
Matthias, I'm gonna try moving her. You got a card ready?
Yep, I've deck in hand, just like ready for whatever happens.
I'm gonna take her very gingerly with a hand to her back and try and escort her out into that sun. Now, you remember me? I helped you back in that room, didn't I? I'm gonna help you again right now. We're gonna show you some sun. It's real good for you. My grandfather used to say, anything that can fix you does not beat sunshine by a mile, right? Any medicine cannot beat sunshine. Come on.
Your hand on her back, kind of just guiding her over. She makes sounds of pain with each step, like just moving her muscles hurts, and you see her jaw just clenched shut. And as you're pushing her forward, guiding her fairly slowly, as you guide her to step into the sunlight, her foot crosses the sunbeam, and the part of her knee down, as the sun hits it, just starts sizzling. And at that, her eyes widen, she turns to you, and she opens her mouth, and you see piranha-like teeth with
Matthias?
saliva dripping, and she goes in to bite you.
Oh, goddamn, Matthias! Throw the goddamn card!
Are we in initiative order of any kind at all?
We are now.
Ah, shit.
All right. Matthias.
Oh, there we go. That's my boy.
Jonah.
Ooh, I'll take it too. Okay.
Oh, she gets a joker.
Yeah, watch it. Oh, there we go.
She's gonna spend a Benny.
Oh no, don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
All right, so I will let the two of you act simultaneously if you'd like.
Okay.
If not, it's technically Matthias first, I believe. No, I think it's actually Jonah first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, could I cast a spell and then get away from her in the same turn, or would that have to happen in additional turns?
You could do it in the same.
Okay. So, this is my plan then. I'm going to use 5 power points to cast Curse on her. It's pretty gnarly, so I'll go into the description if I actually hit with the damn thing, but I'm spending 5 points now to do so. I have an 8. I think that's a success. I think it goes against what, her spirit for spells or something like that? I'm not sure.
Curse. Spirit roll, yeah.
Yeah. So, if I succeeded, which did I not?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Failure means the victim suffers a level of fatigue immediately, and at sunset each day thereafter, they receive additional fatigue. Once the accursed becomes incapacitated, they must make a vigor roll each day to avoid death. So it essentially makes them as tired as all hell. The way it works for me is he slots a card into his left hand, he places it onto her shoulder, and from there, 2 very thin but long fingers form into hands and then climb up from out of the card and clutch at her neck and grab her immediately there. And as soon as the thin man's hands are around her and the fog is sort of leaking out of this playing card, Jonah's gonna kick back and run for the fucking door. He's getting behind Matthias as fast as he can.
All right. Has Jonah cast this spell on someone before?
Yes, it went well for the person who had it, but it definitely caused some situations for Jonah. It's definitely the one that calls out to the thin man the most in Jonah's deck. But I think it's like it's a reactionary response. He sees his life flash before his eyes. He reaches out, slaps it onto the shoulder, reaches out, grabs her, and even as he's running away, he's realized what he's just done.
Okay.
He probably even gives a look to Matthias like, shit.
All right, you're sprinting for the door. Matthias, you see these arms come up and grab onto this woman, and you see him sprinting out the door as the arms are like digging into her skin, like the fingers are climbing into her body.
Rad.
Jesus, Jonah.
I'm sorry. God damn, she was right on top of me. Matthias, please.
Okay, so she, to be clear, is on the edge of like where the door is, where there's like sunlight.
She would be in the center aisle between all of the beds, So she's directly in between you and Jonah, who has sprinted for the door.
Cool. Bud? Okay. Let's do this. I am going to use a neat spell that you let me keep called Phantom Fingers.
Okay.
Which is 5 power points. I am burning through power points. That's not great. And that's an 8, which means yeah, I can lift. Oof, up to 400 pounds with a raise.
The whole hospital.
I am going to lift her up.
Okay.
And then try to like push her onto a bed, and just like hold her with like the phantom hands.
All right. So you see her looking at Jonah as Jonah's running away. Jonah's yelling for you to do something, and you tell me how casting the spell looks for you.
Cool. So, basically what it looks like is you see the deck in my hand, and then like half of the deck jumps over to my other hand, and then these 2 electric blue phantom hands just sort of like slide out of the deck, and it's like I'm using the deck to manipulate the hands to grab this woman and pick her up and like press her against the bed.
Okay. So, as she's lifted, you see her feet and arms flailing, like to the point where when her arm flails into the sun and it sizzles, she doesn't even notice. She's just flailing at whatever magic this is. Picks her up, and it slams her down onto the bed on the other side, and you're just holding her there. All right. All right. For your turn, let's see here.
And that lasts for 3 rounds. Unless
Perfect.
I spend power points to extend it.
All right. Yeah, for her turn, she, being held against this bed, is just thrashing everywhere. She's scratching. You see the tips of her fingers becoming bloodied as she's just scratching at the wall behind her, the wood wall behind her, and she's just scratching. She's scratching at the metal. You hear it clanking. You hear it even just like ripping the sheets. You see feathers and cotton start to fly up as she's just slamming into this thing, shrieking, and you actually see blood and just bile basically coming from her mouth as she's just feral, being held down on this bed.
Matthias is holding it and going like, Doc, Jonah.
All right, round 2. Matthias. Jonah.
Ooh. Thank you.
The woman. All right, so Jonah, you're up first.
We gotta get it into the damn sun. I think once I'm back into the room and I see that Matthias is kind of taken over with these spectral hands, I'm gonna come back in. I can hold my turn, or I can't.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna call out to Matthias. Get her close to the window. I'll blast her outside the best I can.
All right, Matthias.
Great, we're gonna accidentally murder this woman.
Damn straight.
I can move her up to my smarts per turn, so I'm going to maneuver her in front of, like, directly in front of the window.
All right. You can easily just raise her up to one of the windows directly above her bed, and as you do, you hear just the sizzling of the sunlight hitting. Jonah, what are you doing?
I'm going to cast Blast on her.
All right.
I'll throw in an additional PowerPoint to make sure that this is a 3 dice 6 if I do hit her.
Okay.
And my aim is to try and use this blast to get her out of the window. So hopefully that's within the realm of possibility. If not, please tell me I'm being dumb. Okay, so I'll go with my spell casting now. A 7.
Okay. All right. So as you're raising her up, as soon as she reaches the window, this blast comes out of nowhere, slams into her. You hear the glass. You hear her body slam into the glass, and the glass crack and then shatter. And the body is shot out of the hospital. You hear a thud as it hits the ground outside. Switching over to Willie and Luthor.
Yeah. Pointing at this dead body's head. Just go ahead, do it.
And I plunge it in
All right.
as hard as I can.
As you are plunging the stake down, I'll have you make a smart roll.
Okay.
For you. Knowing what you do about healing and knowing what you do about the proper location to pierce the heart, we'll do smarts instead of like an attack roll.
Okay. 5.
Okay. You slam this stake down. You don't really hear it as much as Luthor does. Luthor, standing there with your guns aimed at this thing's head, as the wood stake pierces the chest, you hear one of the ribs crack. As the stake pierces into the heart, you hear this soft crunch, and you see this person's eyes open.
I see his eyes open.
His eyes open, his mouth opens with jagged piranha-like teeth, and then you hear just a raspy breath exhaled, and the body is limp.
Oh, heck.
Let's
Well,
burn this ASAP. I grab.
Wait, I gotta take the stake out. I'm gonna use
Well,
this
don't
baby
do that.
again.
I'm like worried. I'm like, maybe that keeps it dead. Unless
I
you
don't
want to
know.
experiment, pull it out, put it back in.
All right, ready?
All right. She pulls it out. What happens?
Nothing.
Oh. All right. Well, let's still burn it though. So then you got your stake.
All right.
I kind of drag the body out into an open area, maybe behind the house, not where it's super visible. I'm sure, but if I have to do a search roll or something, there's got to be some kerosene or something around. And if I can find that, I would douse it and then just.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got a pretty cool tool I could use if you don't have any kind of inflammant.
Well,
You wanna see it?
I have matches, but I mean, yeah. What do you got?
All right. Well, I was hoping to save this for a quick getaway, but
Well,
I've
don't
got
waste it if you want to,
it's all right. I can load it
Okay.
back up again.
Oh, okay.
So she holds her right arm out and then presses a button on her brooch, and this poof. Oh, we moved it outside already, right?
Yeah.
This poof of ghost rock dust envelops the body, and then she strikes up her flint, and then the whole cloud just ignites in flame.
I said, don't breathe it in. Don't breathe it in.
Back up.
As the flame grows way quicker than a normal flame, you take a step back, and the body is just engulfed in flames and is crackling, and you sit there and you watch it for a moment.
I've never done that one before. It was better than I thought.
I take a cigarette out and light it up because it's I swear I'd give this up, but I need this right now.
That's my subterfusion device. You can use the powder to escape tricky situations, but it's also very, very flammable.
I'd say so.
At this point, you hear, "What the blazes?" And you hear some footsteps, and the sheriff is coming around the corner. He has his gun drawn, and he looks, and he sees the body on fire out back, like, of the house. And he's looking. He sees like the just fumes of burning ghost rock, and he just looks at you like,
Just getting rid of some sicknesses.
You better stand back, Sheriff. It could be traveling through the air still. Might want to give it a wide berth.
He doesn't even say anything. He just turns around and walks away. You hear him mumbling something under his breath, like, "Ghost rock," as he's just walking away. And at this point, you hear in the distance the sound of some sort of blast and shattering glass.
And then I'm like, oh shit,
Uh-oh.
the old lady.
Let's go.
Yeah, and we start running.
Sprint in that direction. All right, so
Yeah.
Jonah and Matthias, as soon as this lady is slammed out the window, what are you doing?
Before I forget, and I put my hand on Jonah's shoulder, and I would like to cast a spell. I'd like to cast armor on Jonah.
Oh.
Because I did make a promise. Which adds +2 toughness or +4 on a raise, provided I can get this to go off. Jesus. Forward. Okay, that's a 17. So,
Oh, damn.
and that was the D6.
Yeah.
Add +4 to your toughness as I hold the deck out and a blue spectral version of a card flips up in that fun, like, flippy, cartoony card style, and then turns to a sort of mist that just sort of coats you, and you sort of glisten a little bit with electric blue armor.
Oh, what the hell?
Ooh.
Mine
So you-
doesn't do that. What the hell?
As you're saying what the hell, the doctor behind you is saying what the hell at the same time.
Oh, shit. God damn. Oh,
Look,
we don't have time.
just go, and he's just pointing to the window, like, just go, get it.
Forget what you saw. Gonna jump out the window.
All right.
Right, bud.
All right, so the two of you jump out the window. Luthor and Willie, you're approaching. You see the woman slam down on the ground, writhing as the sunlight is making parts of her body steam. She stands up. She's looking around. She looks feral, and a lot of her hair is thinned, and from the sun is already just falling out. She's almost balding, like the one that you had seen in the street. As she turns and sees you, she looks at both of you, and she is going to sprint directly at.
So, I would like to turn to Willie and say, you mind handing me that steak?
You mind handing me that steak? As it's sprinting directly towards Luthor.
I give it to him.
You just hand it over real quick? All right. Matthias.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go
Nice.
ahead and put these up here since we're in like real combat now. Luthor.
Nice.
Willie.
Another 10.
This is all I can draw for you.
I'm just a
What the
perfect
hell?
10. What can I say?
And Jonah.
I'll take it.
All right. So it looks like Jonah, you are up first.
I think that he's going to hold the spell now that he sees Luthor's got this, stake in his hands. He's flipping it around in his hand. Luthor's got this covered, right? So Jonah jumps through the window. He gets ready to cast another with his card, and just as he's pulling it, he sees Luthor's around. Oh, you got this one. I got you covered just in case. Come on, Luthor. Bring it home, baby.
I say,
Oh.
watch this, and then,
Okay.
So I'll hold the spell just in case something goes wrong.
Matthias.
I'm functionally going to do the same thing. I pile out into the alleyway, and as soon as I see like the other two and the fact that it's running for the other two and Luthor sort of at the ready, I'm like, okay, we're gonna see how this plays out. I've got my deck just sort of ready in case anything happens.
All right, so Luthor and Willie.
So is it like at me right now, or is it like a little bit like a couple feet away?
It's a couple feet away. It is quickly approaching you, but
I think the fun thing to do would be I'm gonna throw the stake into its chest.
Yes.
all right.
Oh.
So I just
Sweet. All right.
so I am going to roll a athletics, I believe is what it is.
Sounds good to me.
That is 8 on my athletics roll.
All right.
No idea what the damage would be.
So you're trying to hit its heart, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay. So
But I have marksman, which reduces penalties towards called shots and cover and stuff. So, like, I have a little bit more, ability to hit that mark.
Okay. So, as it's sprinting towards you, you have the stake in your hand, and you, like, come back like this and throw it almost like a spear in a sense. You throw this stake, and it just spins towards this creature. It slams into its collarbone, but it was not quite hard enough to pierce its heart.
I'm ready for part 2 when I hit it. This is a 1-2 combo. I'm just setting
So
it
you're
up.
trying to like hit the stake, like.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to. Yeah, like I'm just getting it in this position, and then
Gotcha.
hopefully someone else or me will nail it home.
Okay.
Could I take an opportunity to cast my held spell?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to deal with the devil again.
All right.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna spend that Benny again. And we're going to do it to cast a spell that I do not have called Entangle, which will reduce the creature's speed to 0, sort of hold it in place, get it restrained. At least that's my hope. Okay, let's go back to deal with the devil, and I have to look at that step-by-step thing. Okay, so I spent my Benny. I chose my power. Now I've got to roll a gambling roll. 10 and 6. I exploded on my 10.
Nice.
A 15 on my gambling roll. So I believe that gives me the extra card, right?
Yes.
Okay. What a raise is double the amount I needed, right? That's what a raise
Correct.
is.
Another 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just get the extra 1. So then it's 5 cards. 5, 1 for success, 1 for my my call out there. Okay, so I just have a pair of queens, which is enough for my power on the entangle. Because
Beautiful.
I believe entangle's only 2 power points. So it does get cast. And then I just cast the spell, right? I make it my spell casting roll.
Yes.
Okay. Popped on my D6, so it's 7.
Nice. Okay.
Is that a success?
Yes.
Perfect.
So tell me what that entangle looks like.
I fling the card just underneath the woman's body. And again, that card summons out this blank facing. And it doesn't have numbers, doesn't have the king, doesn't represent anything. But from out of the white facing, those hands claw again, the same that are still drawing from her jaw. A new pair stretch out until their entire arms, like the thin man is climbing up from the card, wrenches her from the ankles and slams her down to the ground, stake facing up, hopefully, whatever interpretation you'd like, but slams her and drags her down. trying to make a good positioning for Luthor to confirm the kill.
Nice. Willie.
So Willie still hasn't really grasped that these powers are like real powers. She's still trying to like figure out how he's doing it. Like, that was amazing, but this is the first time she's seen anything like in person, so she's a little bit flustered by that. But so now the body is the body of the woman face down?
She is currently still thrashing around. So
She's still up.
So when she fell, she's being held basically by her knees and thighs. So as she's thrashing, her torso is kind of moving around in ways that it shouldn't be. You hear body parts twisting and cracking as she's just thrashing wildly with no sense of well-being or pain.
And is the stake in her body, or did it fall down?
The stake is still currently sticking out of her chest.
All right. From my knowledge, does it look like, even though it didn't go all the way in, that it's in the right place?
Make a smarts roll.
Got a 9.
Okay. It looks like if it was hit straight on, it's probably not in the right place, but if you could get it at some sort of a downward angle, it would definitely hit the heart.
I don't know if I can do that without getting closer to her. But she's like thrashing around like this, right?
Yeah. At this point also, people are beginning to watch.
Good.
Great. I guess you could hold. Maybe.
All right. Yeah, I was going to say I could. I was thinking about doing something that might just like blow it a little bit up to that right angle, but I don't know if that would work. I think I'm going to wait and hold my action.
Okay. All right, so coming up to its turn. All right, so the four of you and the crowd that is forming at a safe distance away, you hear the ripping of flesh and you hear the snapping of bones as you watch this figure dig herself out of the grasping hands around her legs. The hands are still holding on to her legs, but they've just completely disconnected from her body as she is thrashing, and she crawls with her legs still being held down, feral, just gore dripping from her mouth, eyes completely glazed over. You see the pupil there and just widening to blacken her entire eye. And she's crawling, and she looks up, and Luthor and Willie are the closest right now. As she crawls forward, she looks at both of you, reaches up, grabs onto both of your pant legs, and she turns, and her fangs sink into Luthor's leg. Luthor, I need you to roll your wild die.
My wild die. I got a 6.
Okay. Go ahead and roll it again.
5.
All right. So the teeth sink into your leg. You feel it, and as soon as you feel the teeth pierce, you're able to kick this being off of you. Her torso kind of rolls over directly underneath Willie. Would you like to take your turn?
Yes, can I grab the stake and try to plunge it home?
Absolutely. Go ahead and make. So right now it is technically considered vulnerable. So you would have a +2. You would have a -2 for not being. So it's just a straight roll your d4 and your wild die.
Okay.
Oh, good vibes. You got this, Willie.
Oh no, I got 2 ones. Can I use a Benny to try? Can I use a Benny?
Snake eyes.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Oh, that's the closest we get to a natural one.
That time I got a 6 on the wild die.
Oh, thank God.
Go ahead and roll that
again.
Yeah.
That's my first time.
There we go.
And then a 3.
Okay. All right. So you reach down, you grab onto the stake, and as you're pulling it up, there's so much blood and just ichor on it that your hand actually slips off of it for a second, but you steady yourself, grab onto it, pull the stake out, take it with both hands and plunge it into this woman's heart. As it does, you hear just that same crack that you had before. The woman's thrashing stops and her arms fall, and everything falls silent except for the sound of her skin steaming in the sun.
I know you might want to leave town, man, but I'm really hoping you'll stick around.
I run straight over to Luthor. I'm like pulling at his ankle. Luthor, God damn it! Let me see it. Did you get bit?
Yeah, I would definitely like look at my leg to see what it looks like.
Pulling up the pant leg, you see a bite almost identical to the one on the back of the woman's neck.
Oh no.
You hear Dr. Trainer come up behind, and he's looking at you with wide eyes, and his mouth is, you see him trying to talk, trying to swallow. His mouth is so dry, and he says, you said vampire, and I look, we're not equipped for this sort of thing. We're not equipped for this sort of thing here, but I know who might be able to help you if you can get to him in time.
Help Luthor?
Who?
There's a doctor in St. Louis. I don't know his name, but he was around during the first of the Walking Dead outbreaks. He knows about the weird shit. He might be able to help you. But you gotta hurry.
Yeah, so I mean, just out of character, like, does that seem like a reasonable like length of like distance or whatever from where we are right now?
How far is St. Louis from here?
On train, maybe about 8 hours straight through. It took maybe 9 or 10 for the woman to turn.
Oh man, wow. Yeah, so Luthor's just gonna be like kind of sigh and go, it's worth a shot. If not, I can take myself out. And I pat my pistols.
Don't talk like that, Richter. What the hell are you saying? We gotta go. We gotta get out of here.
Yeah, the deputy actually is approaching pretty quickly, having heard the end of this conversation, and he says, "There's a train leaving in about half an hour, but well, I think for what you did here," and he kind of looks down at the body still steaming, we might be able to make that leave a little bit early. And he looks over to the doctor, and Dr. Trainer says, I'll get you some medicines. Might help. Yeah, he's too flustered to talk, and he just hurries. You hear him like trip over something inside, and he's running to go gather up some medicines. He rushes them out to you. He hands them to Willie. There are a couple of vials of morphine and some needles. If he can't sleep,
All right. I put those in my pack.
I tell the doc, I say, someone take care of my horse Wildfire. I'm coming back for him.
I'll see to it personally.
I look over at Luthor and I say, we've been through something crazy today, so I'm going with you. And I start to walk away with him, but then I sort of get this look of recognition on my face, and then I run back to the dead one and I grab the stake out and I bring it back and I put it in my case, and I look at Luthor and I say, just in case.
Terrible.
I appreciate it. I want to be biting nobody. Hopefully
Matthias
it's not going to come to that. What's that?
Over where like the crowd is, and like where they've gathered, and he's like, "Folks, I apologize for the spectacle. The woman was unfortunately suffering from a cattle-based case of extreme rabies, and there was unfortunately nothing that current medical science could provide for her. And it is very sad, but funeral services will be prepared if you folks want to go on about your business." And then I walk back over to the group. All right, what's happening?
We gotta go.
We're catching a train.
All right.
I've always wanted to go to St. Louis.
That's not under the best of circumstances, but I hope we can enjoy ourselves.
Much nicer when the vampires are not involved. Maybe afterwards we can show you around.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll make it.
All right,
Yeah.
so go
Oh,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, like Luther's pretty like cool and calm about it, but like you could probably tell like he's like starting to sweat, you know, kind of a thing. Like,
I think that Jonah has no idea how to react in this situation because Luther's never really been touched as long as we've known each other. And so he's like taking off his ribbon tie and trying to do this really bad tourniquet around.
he's like, I'm fine, just relax.
Would you just sit back and let me help? How is the two bunnies, they make the loot. Willie, could you? He's frantic, looking for help. We got to tie him off, right? What do they call those? He needs help.
A tourniquet?
Yeah, that one, the turnip. Turn them for me, yeah?
Oh, you know what? That's a good idea. It might keep some of that poison or whatever it is from spreading too fast. We just got to be careful because we don't want to cut off circulation for too long, so we don't have to lose a leg.
I mean, I'll cut it off right now if we got to do that. That's a joke, people.
Peg legs are fashionable in some parts.
How's he gonna ride?
It's all right, Jonah. You're gonna have to get a stronger stomach.
As soon as you find one for me, let me know.
I'll keep an eye out.
All right, so are you all heading towards the train?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. The four of you head to the train, and you see quite a few passengers with their bags asking what is going on, and the sheriff and the deputy are leading them away from the train, saying that the train is being commandeered, more or less, and they'll have to catch the next one. And a lot of people are pissed, and they're not happy to see that Jonah and Luthor are the ones walking over to board this train. You hear quite a few just angry words shot in your direction.
I respond back, I'll be back to play some songs later, don't worry.
Yeah, I wave with them.
You walk over and
Love y'all.
you step up into the train car. You head in, you take a seat. You see the sheriff outside the window and the deputy talking to the conductor of the train, and a few of the people riding with them, like working with the rail yard. You see them exchanging some words, and you see the conductor looking kind of nervous, but agreeing, accepting a coin pouch, putting that away. And within a few minutes, you hear the engines, and you feel the train beginning to move forward.
Listen, I just wanted to say to all y'all, you didn't have to come with us, but you decided to, and I appreciate that. I understand what sort of a commitment that is. I'm a person who does right by people who do right by me. I'm going to make sure I do that.
Well, don't mention it. When I do a thing, I see it through.
I figure you're gonna stick with Luthor, and sticking by you is the best chance I have of meeting up with our mutual friend, so.
Who's that? What mutual friend?
An old card player we both have played with.
Oh, fun.
Should be for an interesting game.
Luthor says, and maybe we could see some more of that wonderful science. Maybe it'll cure me.
Ooh,
And then-
that's right.
He leans back and he does that thing like with the cowboy hat where he like puts it over his face to sleep or whatever, you know?
Yeah. All right, so after that, there's a little bit of small talk here and there, but it's mostly quiet ride. The jokes kind of mellow out as the adrenaline's wearing off, and the brevity of the situation is sinking in a little harder, and you're all pretty tired. You didn't sleep last night at all, and you find yourselves wanting to stay awake for Luthor. Luthor, your throat's kind of dry and scratchy, and every time you swallow, it just makes you more and more paranoid. And as you adjust your lips to kind of swallow down, a shooting pain shoots up your gums and into your eyes, and it's almost like hunger pains, but in your gums. And there's a moment where you're afraid to know, so you hesitate, but then you finally move your tongue across your teeth, and they're still your teeth, and that settles you for a moment. And then you're just trying to hold still. You don't want them to worry more than they have to, not yet. Throughout the next hour, your teeth hurt too much to even touch together. You're glad that you have this hat over your face because your mouth kind of hangs open for a moment to keep your teeth from touching each other. They hurt so bad. And you just still feel that pain in your gums, and the pain that can only be satiated by iron. That thought scares you, and you quickly start thinking about something else. No, these thoughts are in your head because of what you just dealt with. You're gonna be fine. You touch your tongue to your teeth again. They're still your teeth. You're gonna be okay. You have time. It's only been a couple of hours. You're just paranoid. You just wish the train wasn't such a bumpy ride. Your skin is on fire, and your eyes hurt to move in their sockets. Your eyes snap open, and you kind of snap out of whatever fever you were thrown into, and the pain is still there. you see a little bit of light just peeking through the tiny little holes in your hat, and it kind of hurts your eyes, like when you have a headache, a migraine. You don't want to see the light. You just kind of adjust the hat a little bit to shield your eyes from it. It's not hurting your skin, just your eyes. The pain is still there, but maybe it'll get dark soon. The dark feels better, safer. That thought scares you too, and you just know that you have to get to St. Louis before it's too late for you. The rest of you, you are watching Luthor doze in and out of consciousness. Like, his body jumps when he wakes up, and you can tell when he's awake and when he's asleep. You can't see his face, and that almost makes it worse in a way, as his hat is covering him. You see sweat beading on his arms, but sometimes you see a little shiver. And then after about 6 hours of travel, you hear, or you feel a jolt, and you hear the screeching of the train's brakes as it is screeching to a stop. You almost stumble out of your seat. Luthor, your body is kind of doubled forward a little bit, and it is the most shocking pain you have ever felt, just shooting up your spine into your gums. You feel just saliva kind of just dripping from your mouth from the pain itself for a moment, and you go to wipe your face and it just hurts. Everything hurts. The train has stopped. You look out the window. You're not in St. Louis. What do you do?
I want to pop my head out and see if there's anyone there, like I can see train worker or anything to see what's going on.
Okay, you walk over, you kind of open up the door and peek out. As you're peeking out, you see the car in front of you. You see the conductor actually like stepping out and looking forward. And looking past the conductor, you actually hear another voice. You hear someone yelling, "The tracks are closed for business, folks. You can turn around and head in the other direction. Back where y'all came from if you know what's good for you." And
Oh.
Go ahead.
Am I like cognizant of like can I get up and do things, or?
The longer you were sitting, the worse you felt, because that's all you could focus on. But as you're hearing these other voices and this yelling, and you're seeing you're not in St. Louis, you're able to drown that out for a moment and let your desires kind of take over. So yeah, you're able to get up. It's not pleasant, but you're able to.
So I would turn to my friends and say, well, maybe I gotta go out in a blaze of glory. And I like pull out my pistols, because I'm not gonna let these people do whatever they're doing up there. So I'm headed out there.
All right,
you can't be serious. You're not going out there, are you?
Well, what's the other option? I'm not gonna start biting you in here or back in Little Rock. So I'm going to check out what's up there.
Luna, hey, honey, I'm gonna throw my dice at you. As Luthor is approaching from behind you, Willie, to exit, you hear the conductor say, "No, you don't understand. We have to get to St. Louis." and the men are laughing. You actually see carriages across the tracks to block them, and you see horses. You see about a dozen men out here, and a couple of them laugh, and one of them says, "You don't want to be in St. Louis, trust me."
What's going on in St. Louis?
As you're stepping out, so there were curtains inside or in the windows of the train, so it was able to be pretty dim in there. As Luthor is stepping out, the light does kind of hurt your eyes a little bit. You kind of pull your hat down to shield your eyes a little bit more. But Willie, you see, he is pale. He looks like he's had the flu for 3 weeks. He is not, I don't know how to phrase this. It's not like you're walking out trying to be intimidating, but he's definitely not intimidating in any fashion as he's stepping out. He's got sweat running down his face and drenching his hair. And as he steps out, they don't seem to even have heard what you said because everybody's just looking at you with concern, mostly. A couple of them just kind of bring up their guns just barely, and they're like, "Hey, how about you stay over there, huh?"
Can I walk
Luthor, I
up?
think they might be right. You might not be safe leaving this car right now. Maybe you should let the three of us check it out first.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of, I don't really say anything.
Yeah.
And to the other people, I say, just stay away from him. He's not feeling too well.
I'll come up from behind Luthor and sort of sling his arm over my shoulder and keep him upright.
Okay. One of them looking at you, still just eyes fixed on Luthor, and he says, "You look like hell. What happened to you?"
Yeah, I'm not saying anything.
He's sick, and we need to get him to a special doctor in St. Louis, and we need to get there as soon as possible.
They kind of glance at each other, and they're like, "Look, I ain't letting you through. You're just gonna have to go back to where you came from."
Do these people look like highwaymen, or do these look like boarded officials, or like who are we looking at exactly?
Make a notice check.
Sure. A 5.
Okay. These definitely don't look like officials, and they don't look like bandits either. If you had to guess, you've been around. You've been around a few places. You've been around a few rail yards. If you didn't know better, you would think these men belong to Josh Chamberlain, owner of the particular rail that you're on.
Since when do company men stop down Mr. Chamberlain's trains? There must be something very serious for you men to be out here.
You see a couple of them that were kind of smiling towards each other. Their smiles leave, and they kind of straighten up, and they put their hands on their pistols at their sides. Look, we ain't here to answer questions. We're here to tell you to turn around. So you can do that and leave with your lives, or you can fight us. And he kind of looks back at the 12 people. But I don't think that's gonna end well for you. Rail's closed.
We have to get to St. Louis. We have to. We don't want to fight you, but there's got to be something we can do to let you to get us through.
Look, if you need through that bad, you can walk. Rail's closed. We're not gonna say it again.
Tell us why exactly the rail is closed?
It's on a need-to-know basis.
Well, as you can see by the very pale gentleman behind me, we need to know.
Not my problem.
I cough. I'm like, and I turn to Jonah, and I'm like, I got an itchy trigger finger, my friend.
I'm gonna take one look at Matthias and Willie and see how they're feeling too.
I would like to turn to Jonah and just sort of like get like right up next to them so I can like under my breath be like, hey, how big is that blast you got?
It's decent.
We might not have a choice. I'm gonna look at Willie because Luthor's made his position fairly clear, and I figure if I go loud, Jonah will follow me.
Yeah.
Willie is the only one I don't know about.
Well, the only thing I will say no to is blowing up the tracks so we can't go forward. But otherwise, I'm ready to go whole hog.
Willie, you are one hell of a woman.
Thank you.
I'm gonna turn around, hands spread wide with a deck of cards in my hand, and I say, "You fellas want to see a card trick?" And then I'm gonna blast the guy that was talking.
So there's a moment where he goes, "A fucking cock," and then go ahead and.
Hooey!
Can I coordinate as soon as his goes off? I'm gonna blast the next guy straight off.
Sure.
And I'll try and position with Luthor in my arms to get him in a good position to shoot one off with his free hand.
It's a 6, so that does go off.
All right.
I hit him right high in his chest.
Go ahead and roll some damage for that, just so I.
I just want to say that this is an interesting reverse bandit situation where the people on the train are attacking the. It's like the opposite.
Do damage dice explode also?
Yes.
Yes. That's exciting. And you get a bonus damage die if you got a raise on your attack. I don't know if you did or not.
Unfortunately, for once I did not. And that is 15 damage.
Okay.
Damn.
It does 3d6 or 4d6 with the ribbons.
And what was yours, Jonah?
Oh, I haven't gone yet. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Luthor and Willie, do you have something you want to do simultaneously as well, or?
I'd be shooting.
I would like to do a bolt.
All right.
Out of my
All right, go ahead and roll those. Just
All right.
do this all simultaneously as you all just kind of conversed for a moment and just turned around and. So, anyways, I started blasting.
Yeah.
Pew, pew.
So my spell casting was an 8
Okay.
to hit, and then if that does hit, they take. Damage dice do not explode, right?
Yes, they do.
Okay. They do?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Okay, I got a 7 on my spell casting.
Okay, go ahead and roll damage.
Ooh, one exploded.
Damn, guys.
Yeah.
And it did it again.
Nice. Keep it going.
Okay, so 12, 15, 17.
Oh my god. That's what,
Boom.
like three people gone in a second?
Luthor.
I shot twice. I also spent a Benny. But I hit once, 9 damage. Second one I hit, I had 12 damage.
Okay. All right, so as you all turn, blast just slam outward in different colors, different sizes almost even. Just they all look different depending on who they're coming from, and one of them slams into one person. You see them blasted backwards and their gun spins in the air and then clatters against the ground as they slam back and just land on their back on the ground. Jonah, your blast slams into someone and you actually see like a whole portion of their body just gone as the blast slams into them and they fall lifeless. Willie, as you turn and you blast outward, it slams into one of them, and you actually see it slams more into like their hips. And as it does, they fall just with this insane speed, face down onto the rail. You hear the clang of their heads slamming into the metal of the actual railroad tracks. And then Luthor, your shot fires off, 2 of them just back to back. And as they do, they slam into the same guy. One of them slams into the chest, the other one right between the eyes, slams down, and he falls over backwards. And that is when everyone opens fire.